Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox and Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got a lot to get to on this Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon. The Cavs win yet again, although it wasn't pretty against the Miami Heat team that's not all that good right now, guys. Obviously, there's always news when it comes to the Browns and stuff going on off the field, but this is actually good news. You can see there that Joel Bitonio is back. That and a lot more coming up. We'll begin with some Deshaun Watson updates. First to the other side of the glass, where we have Steve and Anthony and Mike. Mike, how you doing?
We're doing good. I actually want to ask Dustin a question before we dive into things. But, Dustin, you were on a cruise the last couple of days. Does it feel? Thank you for bringing the snow back to Cleveland. I just wanted to say thank you. That was you. I know you were just sick of the nice warm weather on a boat in the Caribbean somewhere that you had to come back and do this to us. So thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's good to be back. Not good to be back in the conditions. Although when I got off the plane yesterday in Cleveland, it was
gorgeous
60s. Yeah. A little windy, but it was. Oh, by the way, it was a rough landing.
Whew. I would bet with that wind.
Did y'all applaud?
What's that? We applaud? I mean, I didn't. I was just like, thank God. By the way, now with all these crashes that we've had recently, I'm scared as hell to fly.
It's been crazy. Yeah. It seems like there's been a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's, I don't know. But
hopefully
here's
it's settling down, maybe. But
dude, here's the thing. Anytime there's like any turbulence now, I'm starting to freak out.
It's scary. Because airplane travel always seemed extremely safe. Because crashes were rare. And there was like 5 or 6 of them, or 10 of them maybe, within like a couple of weeks.
A lot of it was, I mean, it was just well, you had the one that flipped over up in Toronto, but the one in D.C. was obviously the bad one. Yeah. Brutal. But you had the couple of like private jets that went down. Yeah. You know, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not trying to be negative or morbid.
I'm driving.
Let's drive instead. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, so let's get right into it, Mike. Let's get to the first subject of the day.
Yeah, we'll do the FanDuel read after we talk to Deshaun Watson. Let's just dive right into it. But the Browns made it official.
Did you just do a tease for a FanDuel read?
He did.
He did.
Well, I picked it up and then realized FanDuel read's tied to the NBA, so we might as well save it.
All right.
So, Ant, start the clip now. Guys, Deshaun Watson had his contract restructured by the Cleveland Browns this morning. They were about $21 million under the cap. Over the cap. This move brings them $13 million under the cap. I think this was relatively expected after the move from the Browns initially restructuring his contract in December. But, Bull, was this a necessary step the Browns had to take to just get their books in order for the start of free agency?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's what they had to do. You can't be over the cap. I mean, you can be during the season because there's ways around it. But when the start of the new league year happens, which is officially it's Wednesday either at noon or 4 p.m. I can't remember.
Wednesday at noon, I believe.
Noon, right. Before Wednesday at noon, you have to be under the cap. And the Browns were $25 million over the cap. So the only way to get under it was to restructure Deshaun Watson's contract. Now, in terms of actual money they're going to pay to Deshaun Watson, every time they do this, nothing changes. He's getting he will have every dollar that they guaranteed him by the end of next season, the 26th season. Not next season, but next year, the 26th season. He will be paid. Now, he's going to have a number on their cap through at least 2030. Now, after 2026, it's not as egregious, but he will be on their cap for 4 years. They're not going to cut him until after next year. Because if you cut him even after this season, you have over $100 million dead cap hit in 2026. They're not going to do that. Now, the cap has gone way, way up in the last ever since COVID, a year after COVID, the cap has been flying up.
Yep.
And will continue to do so because the NFL is an absolute monster compared to every other sport. But as you see there, they can't cut him after next year because they would have a $135 million cap hit. In 2027, dead cap hit. 2027, his first year where he won't be here, they're still going to have a $54 million cap hit. But at that point, you could live with that. The cap, it'll be high enough where you're going to be like, well, whatever. But that's when they'll finally stop paying him, and that's when they can finally get rid of him. But he will have a number, at least some number, on the cap through 2030 minimum. And they might need to restructure again next year to push it to 2031. It's just cap gymnastics.
It's crazy.
It's the unfortunate result, guys, of what's been maybe the worst deal in the history of football.
Yeah, I mean, at least, what they get. You said they got, what, $13 million? So maybe they'd be able to get maybe a decent free agent on a 1-year deal or something like that. Maybe only getting one, but, maybe you got to make sure that one is good.
What is the point, though?
Stop. See, we got into it over this last night.
Yeah.
Listen, Joey Bosa got released. I say we should sell the franchise to get him. And I'm being biased. Go Bucks. Yeah. But, and I was just kidding because y'all like to take everything I say seriously. I was just kidding. But anyways, I was explaining to you, you was like, what's the point of stop with the veterans? What's the point of the veterans? And my response to you was, did you not see what Washington did? Like, they literally, Jaden Daniels was exceptional. Yes, he was. But they went and got a Bobby Wagner. They went and got an Austin Eckler. They went and got Zach Ertz. These is 3 guys that maybe they are at the end of their career, but at one point in time, they were a top player in this league.
Okay, you're right, but let me ask you a question. If Washington had not gotten Jaden Daniels, how many more games would Washington have won with those 3 guys? Then
probably not a lot.
None is probably the answer, right? I mean, those guys are fine. And yes, we could always point to Washington. Dustin mentioned it on our podcast this morning. That's lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. The odds of that happening, and it's really happened 2 years in a row.
I was going to say Stroud.
Before that, it's so rare for a quarterback to make that kind of impact. But it's happened 2 years in a row with Stroud and Jaden Daniels. No doubt about it. Now, Stroud happened to be in a bad division, and Jaden Daniels in a weaker NFC conference. The Browns don't, again, it doesn't appear there's a quarterback on the level of Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud. You never know. But the Browns are also in one of, if not the best division in the tougher conference. So, and the Browns couldn't afford to sign 3-4 veterans like that anyway. They don't have the money to do it. So, yes, I understand what you talk. If the Browns had a young quarterback, and
well, they probably will.
Right, but if they were on the verge of being like, if I really thought the Browns could be a playoff team this year with a young quarterback, I'd say, yeah, go sign guys like that.
You didn't think that about Washington last year, did you?
Who picked Washington to make the playoffs last year, Mike?
Tyvus, you don't want me to say the answer to this.
Thank you.
What about the Texans?
I was probably the only person.
What about the Texans the year before that?
I don't think I picked Texans the year before that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
I might have, but I don't remember.
Like, I get what you're saying,
yeah,
and it is very far fetched. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's not. I'm not living in a reality where it can't happen. Like, there's been examples that we just recently talked about of teams being able to figure it out, and this team literally did it 2 years ago without a quarterback. Yes, Joe Flacco was decent and did the things he did, but by all no means he wasn't like Jaden Daniels or C.J. Stroud.
I know that.
So, like, like I say, the biggest difference in last year's team was that the defense didn't have the same performance that they had the year before.
But you can't bank on the anomaly. And the Browns make
you got to, with my job on the line, yes, I am.
You can't bank on it.
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah,
Because if it ain't, I'm getting fired.
You're going to bank on winning the way the Browns won 2 years ago? It's just not realistic.
I want to keep my job. I'm banking on whatever we got to do to win.
Well, I don't know about banking on it, but I mean, that's probably the only hope to keep them, in the mix and bring them back. They don't necessarily have to win, but they have to show progress, and they have to have a quarterback that's showing some development throughout the season next year. And if that happens, I think that certainly buys them some time.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody is out there. I mean, maybe they are, but I don't think that they are saying, "Hey, we're going to be the Washington Commanders this year." Like, we're going to have the next Jaden Daniels. Like, that is so rare. It's only happened once in my lifetime, and it happened this year.
Right. Joey Bosa, by the way, why would he sign with the Browns?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's a nice story.
If they're going to overpay him?
Well, the Browns would have to overpay.
With what money?
Well, they're overpaying with money they don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Joey Bosa, I want to go win. I'm not going to win. The Browns not going to win. Even if you think there's some remote chance the Browns are going to win, you played. You guys both played. You know how other players think. You both have said it, especially you, Tyvis. You've said it because you've been more recently.
Oh, yeah. They don't want to come
Players
here.
don't want to go to the Browns.
No.
And there's not a player in the NFL right now that thinks the Browns are going to be a winning football team anytime soon.
No, not one player that signs with the Browns this offseason will be signing for
winning.
The winning.
Yeah.
No, they'll be signing because
for money.
The money. Yes,
Right.
100%. And
well,
that.
It depends. If you got Cleveland ties, like if you from the city, like.
But he's not.
No, I'm not saying he.
Yeah.
Draymond Jones is though. Go Bucks, by the way. You know, if y'all need a defensive tackle, which we are thin there, Draymond Jones, he would love to come home and play for the Cleveland
2 days
Browns.
in a row with
Just
you,
saying.
Draymond Jones.
I'm just saying, you know.
Are you sure he still wants to come home?
Go get Draymond Jones.
Okay, so that's where you want them to spend their $13 million?
Hey, listen, you want to get somebody that want to be here, you know? Like, that's the thing. You want somebody that's going to be
here. Well,
here.
Nick Chubb wants to be here, and the Browns don't want him.
Well,
so.
yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Nick Chubb's one of the few players that actually wants to play for the Browns.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And he's cost himself money.
It's all he knows. It's all he knows. And the city embraces him. So
it's all Myles Garrett knows. He don't want to play here.
Yeah, well, the city don't embrace him as much.
Please. Come on. What do you got, Mike?
I'll say any final thoughts on DW4 before we head on to some Cavs stuff. We're going to talk Browns later in the show, but Cavs have won 12 straight. You guys good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, that whole conversation had really nothing to do with Deshaun Watson.
Those open up cap space. They restructured.
Yeah, he did. I don't mean to be mean, but he's just all he is cap money now. That's all we think of him as.
He's just a number. He's not just a number. He's not going to play for the Browns.
No. The only thing that matters with Deshaun Watson is how much he's hurting the Browns with the cap.
And with that, we'll move on and talk a little Cavaliers. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action, and if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Guys, we'll take a big picture look at the Cavaliers' 52-10 start a little bit. But let's start with last night's win in particular. The Heat, down 6 rotation players, gave Cleveland all they could handle, and despite that, the Cavs found a way to erase a 7-point fourth-quarter deficit to pull out a win, their 3rd 12th game winning streak of the season, which is just incredible. But they closed the game, once again for the 3rd straight game, with DeAndre Hunter at the 4, Evan Mobley at the 5, and Jarrett Allen on the bench. Tyvis, Dustin, Bull, and Ty, will start with you.
For the record, are we ignoring the fact that how disgraceful it is that once again, and we're seeing this all the time, NBA teams just sitting 6 guys, 5 guys, 7 guys.
They were hurt.
They're not all hurt. That's bullshit. I mean, they don't care about the fans.
No.
They don't care about the fans. It's, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead, Ty.
2 of the guys that were out for Miami yesterday weren't even on the bench because they didn't want them around the team because they were contagious. So we could debate whether that's real or not.
The Cavs don't. The Cavs are one of the few teams that don't do that nonsense. Go ahead,
true. Ty, do you believe that the closing lineup, with Allen on the bench, Hunter at the 4, Mobley at the 5, is their best bet to close games from now to the end of the season and then into the playoffs? Is that their best closing group?
Yeah, I really do, because I think for the simple fact that, for the longest, everybody thought, funnel everything down to Jarrett Allen or Evan being down there as well. You could funnel things down to there, and that would stop things at the cup. But if you look at some of these lineups, some of these guys have shooters at the 4. And maybe even got, like last night, Bam's at the 5. I didn't even know Bam had a jumper like that.
Nice night.
Bam was out there hitting all kind of trades yesterday. So think about that. Evan Mobley, your best defensive player. Now you're not having that mismatch of Bam or Jarrett Allen having to come out of the paint to check Bam at the 3-point line. Now you can have Evan there, and everybody can switch everything, because everybody can play pretty much everybody. I know that Darius is the defensive liability and all those things, but you get what I'm saying. At the most part, you could switch everything to where Jarrett's in there. You really can't because he's not comfortable being out there on the perimeter. So I thought last night that closing lineup was great. Now, don't get me wrong, Duncan Robinson hit that three, but he stepped out of bounds, so we got saved with those. And then the defense was really well. Obviously, Bam turned the ball over in the closing seconds of the game as well. But defensively, they were superb. Even Duncan's last shot at the end was a contested shot. And I think that this lineup, due to the fact that it gives you that ability to be able to switch everything when you do pick and rolls, it doesn't matter. If you switch it, if the 4 is picking or the 5 is picking, like, and you're switching with, Mobley or Hunter, like you're getting 2 great defensive players that's switching on you. So I think it's the best thing. And Evan is obviously DPOY for a reason. He's going to win it this year, I should say. So you still have the ability to funnel anything to the paint and know that somebody's down there to shoot, to at least alter the shot or best bet block the shot.
Is that something, guys, that you think, like that, the way that they closed that game last night, is that something we could see in the postseason? Like, do we think that the closing lineups
absolutely.
could change literally game to game?
Kenny said that after the game. He was asked, this is 3 in a row, are you set as this your close?
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's matchup dependent. Miami only had the 1 big, so they didn't feel like they needed the extra bigs. But in terms of defensive metrics from last night, Miami hit 100 points with 6-11 in the fourth quarter. Half the quarter to go, they had 100 points. They ended with 107.
Yeah.
The majority of that second half of the fourth quarter stretch had the lineup of Mitchell, Garland, Strus, Hunter, and Mobley. 4 minutes and 51 seconds, so just shy of 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, that 5-man lineup posted a defensive rating of 62.5, and they closed the game with 6 consecutive stops.
But isn't Allen a good defender?
He is.
He
And
is.
Tyvus was wrong. He's very comfortable on the perimeter switching. Sorry
Yeah.
if I got Ty, but he's fine there. But he's not Allen. I mean, he's not
Got a
Hunter.
big strike right
So
there.
Hunter's a better defender than Allen.
On the perimeter,
On the
absolutely.
perimeter. So if they're playing a team that's got 2 big guys, you'll see Allen out there probably at the end of the game.
Kenny said they'll mix and match. The
Yeah.
thing with Hunter, they just have way more spacing offensively. And against the team that was playing zone as much as Miami was last night,
Right.
you need the spacing to spread the zone out and find the pockets to attack.
I wonder if Jarrett Allen is frustrated right now.
No way.
You don't think so?
I don't think
Team
so.
guy.
He ain't
I
this
think,
type of guy.
I think that guy cares about winning and
Yeah.
cares about his teammates. I mean, he is a rare breed for kind of a superstar type of player. I mean, the guy's an all-star, and he is the ultimate team guy.
And really, you look at the whole team. I mean, it's just an unselfish bunch.
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be an ego issue with anybody on this team.
I love it, man. I love the fact that some of the folks out there that cover the NBA from a national perspective are like, the Cavs are just not a sexy team. Dude, we're 52-10.
Yeah. I'm enjoying
They
it.
could win 70 games.
Yeah, I can't wait to the playoffs because every series the Cavs are going to play, they could win, they could lose. I mean, there'll be some you expect them to win, but like the Cavs haven't proven enough in the playoffs that they couldn't lose early in the in the playoffs, and yet they could win it all. So with LeBron, you always knew they were going to get to the finals. There was a level of
Is there a little part of you that's like a little bit nervous for the postseason?
100%.
Because they've been so good and so dominant here in the regular season that when we get to the postseason, if they don't perform, or God forbid, what if they get bounced like really early?
Oh, it's going to be terrible.
It's going to feel like, oh my God, what was this? This was such a fun run. For what?
Yeah. Sorry,
not to get too
far.
I was about to say, don't do that.
That's fine. To Dustin's point on Jarrett Allen, Kenny was asked that. Evan was asked that. Donovan was asked that all last night. Hey, how do you think Jarrett feels about, in the last 3 games, not being part of the closing lineup?
They didn't ask him?
He was. So when we go to the locker room, players can dip out a little early.
Yeah.
This is not new. All season, Jarrett Allen, unless he has like 20 and 17, is the first one out the locker room. He doesn't love talking to us. He doesn't mind talking to us, but he's not just kind of shooting the shit around, waiting for guys. So we all asked them, and the constant in all 3 answers was to what Dustin said. He is the consummate professional. If we win, he does not care. And remember, Kenny coached him in Brooklyn. They go back a long time, and I think that relationship and Kenny being able to look Jarrett in the eye and Jarrett reciprocating that eye contact and being like, right now, this matchup, we think DeAndre gives us a better chance. It's not necessarily hurting his feelings. It's a level of respect to be able to have those conversations and Jarrett not pout and not change the way he's going to play and not give 125% effort in the minutes he is playing. And Donovan pointed out, he may not be closing in these last 3 games, and it has been, I think, some matchup-dependent situations. Portland had 1 big and a bunch of guards. Boston plays with 1 big, a bunch of guards. Miami had Bam and a bunch of guards, so they didn't need the 2 bigs. But he said, look how hard Jarrett plays in the minutes when he's not closing, knowing he may not be out there for the last 3-4 minutes. Look how hard he's playing in the first 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, setting screens, rebounding, defending.
He plays hard all the time, though.
I just figured it was worth pointing out that it doesn't seem to have changed anything in how Jarrett's
25
playing.
and 17 the last game.
It was great
last game Evan Mobley didn't play.
Yeah, that's true, but he's still getting his. They keep him fresh for the playoffs. This is a guy that's trying to play all. Isn't he playing all 82 games this year?
He wants to.
He says he wants to.
All right, so this is taking a couple of minutes and letting him recover a little bit earlier. At the end of the day, we always talk about it's about the playoffs. Being as healthy as you can in the playoffs. When did he get hurt last year? Wasn't it like the last 3 games or something like that?
Jarrett, no, he hurt his rib in the playoff series.
Oh, it was in the playoffs.
20 games to go. They have to go 15-5 to break the franchise record for wins. Anybody doubting they'll do that, or do you think at the end of the season, because they'll have everything locked up, that they might lose some games late? Or as Dustin suggested this morning, that maybe even with their bench players, they'll still win some games?
What was the over-under when we did it 3 weeks ago?
63.5. They're going to go over.
They're clearly going over.
They're going over.
The franchise record's 66. They've got 52 wins now with 20 to go.
They got to win 13 more games. Oh, no. 15
more games. 15-5 to set the franchise record. I think they're going to do it.
I'm about to say, it's hard to say they can't the way they playing right now. The only way they can do it is they just completely just let the wheel
I think they only have 7 games of their last 20 against teams that are in the top 6 in each conference. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know the exact number, but
2 against Boston, 2 against Indiana.
They don't play Boston. They play the Knicks twice.
I'm sorry, 2 against the Knicks, I meant. 2 against Indiana, Memphis, Detroit, and Milwaukee.
Correct. And they got the Clippers, who are 6th in the West right now.
Oh, they're 6th. Okay. They got 2 with the Clippers.
2 against the Clippers, yeah. They actually don't have a gauntlet of a schedule in terms of opponents, but the number of games
they got
versus
that
the
West
number
Coast
of off
trip.
days is in March they play 16 games in 29 days, which is a lot of 3 and 4s.
But remember, they've been so good with the minutes.
Well, it's still 3 and 4s. Like, that still makes a difference.
Yeah, but so Donovan will sit a game, and Evan sits a game. That's what they've done a little bit.
Kenny mentioned in the post-game yesterday that he thought Miami going zone as frequently as they did was a great tactic because you have tired legs 3 and 4, and that was the Cavs 3 and 4, or third game and fourth nights last night before a night off, and they take on Charlotte on Friday. And you can see, and they all talked about it, just that this is the dog days. You know, we talk about the dog days of baseball in the summer.
Yeah.
They've now clinched.
Oh, it's tough.
And they have
really
20
tough.
games left.
And how far?
Yeah, you got 4 weeks. 4 weeks left in the season, essentially 5 at maybe.
What's the difference between them and Boston for the number 1 seed?
They're 8 games up. It is almost. They're a 99.9% chance according to ESPN.
What's their magic number?
Man, it's hard to be locked.
I believe they have the tiebreaker against Boston, right?
They split the
I think the tiebreaker's conference record after head-to-head.
And they have a 4-game advantage over Boston in the conference record.
Yeah, so...
Well, Bull's looking that up.
Yeah.
Dustin, one last thing on last night's game, and then we'll look big picture in a little bit on the show. But to see in the fourth quarter, once again, the Cavs, who had their B game, C game, whatever grade you want to give it for the first 42 minutes of the game, go on another run in the final 6 minutes, shutting down the Heat offensively and finding way to scores. Are those the kind of little things we'll look back on when the playoffs roll around and say, remember when they did this against Miami on the third game and fourth nights? That's going to translate to playoff basketball.
Well, I would say, the one thing that jumps out at me is these comebacks, these come from behind victories they've had over the last week or so, being down 20 points or 20-ish points, double digits. There's never going to be a game in the playoffs where the Cavs feel like they're out of it. And that's where you can have that recall to bring you back to these moments, these experiences that you remember how you felt and how you got back into games with effort, intensity, moving without the basketball, all the things they're vital for this team's success. They're going to feel like they can get back into games, and we know how playoffs go, guys. When you're on the road, there's going to be games where they're going to fall behind double digits.
Yeah,
maybe in the first half, maybe they're down 15 or whatever. Like A lot of teams may go in the tank and quit. This team won't. That won't be the case because they're going to be able to recall those moments and know that they're good enough to come back really against anybody, including the Boston Celtics, who everybody thinks have been the best team in the Eastern Conference. Well, it just happened the other night, Friday night.
Yeah, it's a good point too, because yesterday we talked about these bad starts in terms of a negative, and it is, you don't want to get off to a bad start, but it's a positive spin out of that you build up your confidence in knowing that no matter what the deficit is, you still have a chance to win.
Well, I think that's kind of been what I've loved about this team. They've literally won in every way imaginable. They've blown teams out. They've been in close games. They've been down a bunch of points. Like, they've literally won every single way this season. So where when they get to the playoffs, don't get me wrong, I know playoff basketball is totally different, but you're absolutely right. Like, they're going to say, we've been in this situation before and we got ourselves out. Like, this ain't no different. Yes, it's playoff basketball, but we know we can do it. It's in there. So go back to, remember when we was talking about the Celtics game, where they was like, it doesn't make any difference. This game will not affect them. No, it does a little bit because of the simple fact where I was like, well, it's important for them to win in the Garden. Well, TD Garden, because there's only one The Garden.
That's right.
TD Garden is important for them to win, but I think it was more impactful that they went down 22 points and came back and won in TD Gardens, because it's like, if we could do this here, granted, I get it's the regular season, but if we could do this here in this environment, this atmosphere against that team, then there's nowhere else that we can't get this done. Yeah, and I think that really boosts their mindset going into the playoffs.
Yeah. By the way, the Cavs' magic number for clinching the 1 seed in the East is 12. Any combination of 12 Cavs wins and Celtics losses. So in theory, they could do it.
Celtics look like they ain't trying to. They had two dudes hit 9 threes last night.
They're not playing. How close are the Knicks to being the 2 seed? By the way,
Peyton Pritchard and
the Knicks are 3.5 games behind the Celtics.
9 threes apiece.
I mean, it's all the top 6 seeds are set. I get
in the East?
Not in order. I mean, Milwaukee, Indiana, and Detroit could still end up in any order, but we know who the 6 teams are going to be. Is what I'm saying. Top 6. And same thing in the West, right?
No, the Timberwolves and the Clippers are right there with Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
The West, the 10 teams in the West are pretty much set.
Right.
Unless Dallas continues to free fall now with Kyrie out.
Which they could.
Which they absolutely could. But 9 of the 10 teams in the West are set, just a matter of the order.
Yeah, but Dallas is still up a good deal on Phoenix, so.
We'll see.
Anyway. All right, Mike, go ahead.
We're going to do big picture Cavs. We're going to talk about Kevin Love and his ceremony last night. Then we got Marcus Morris, a former Cav who was on the team for a playoff push, joining the show at 12:30. But we got to talk something about Joel Bitonio in the meantime. Check out G. Bush's Ultimate Brown Show. He put it up on Tuesday with an immediate reaction to the Nick Chubb news, and then he put another one up this morning with why he believes the Browns are in the wrong for what they are doing currently with Nick Chubb. If you missed Bull's rant on the Browns and Nick Chubb yesterday, I highly recommend you go on our YouTube page. You can find it in 2 different clips. Well worth your time. He went 6 minutes and 21 seconds uninterrupted. It's the longest monologue in the history of the show.
Went that long, huh?
And every second was worth listening to. So go check it out on our YouTube page when you want. Speaking of those Browns, we were all wrong, guys. Hand up if you thought Joel Bitonio was going to retire. All our hands are going up. And guess what? We were all wrong because Joel Bitonio has officially announced he is coming back for a 12th and final season with the Cleveland Browns. Dustin, what do you think changed for Joel Bitonio in terms of all the wind was leaning towards him retiring, and now he's coming back?
Well, I think the most important thing in this situation with a guy who's been in the league for 11 plus years is his health and how he feels, and having conversations with the people you care about most, which is your family, And I'm guessing, being a player that was around Joe Thomas for a good portion of his career, he understands what it takes to play at a high level as you're a double-digit year veteran in the league. And if he didn't feel like he could play at a Pro Bowl caliber level, the guy wouldn't be coming back. You never want to I would never want to hang it up when I felt like I could still play at that sort of level. Mm-hmm. Some guys do. Some guys are like, I'm good. I mean, this guy is as much of a professional as I've ever been around, covering a team. Heck, even being a player in a locker room. there aren't many guys as special as Joel Bitonio. I think we're really lucky that he's going to come back for this year because they need some veterans to continue to sort of steer this ship in the right direction. Because I don't know that there are many guys on that roster that care and want to be a part of this as much as Joel Bitonio does. So I'm pleasantly surprised that he has opted to make his comeback for his 12th year.
I think that it speaks to who Joel Bitonio is as a person, because from the outside looking in, you see what this roster is. You see the cap situation. You see how bad things have been. And yet you say, you know what? Those is my guys. Like, I want to go out. And the funny thing is, I know I said Joe, but I was on the part where I said Joe Bitonio was probably going to retire. But I was listening to his press conferences, towards the end of the season, like his last games and all those things, and everybody was pointing out how well he was playing at the end of the season. At the beginning of the season, the whole offensive line was bad. But towards the end of the season, like his last 2 or 3 games, to him, he thought he was still playing exceptionally well. So to him, in his mind, he's like, I still got it. Like I haven't fallen off yet. And that's how guys feel. If I'm going to disrespect this game, then I need to move on, especially if I'm going on my 12th season. Like if I'm not going to be the player that I once was, then let me get out the way. But to him, he's like, I still got something left in the tank, and Dustin's right. I mean, I think both of us been in that position. Yeah. You play that game as long as you can because you love that game. You are very passionate about that game. Because when it's over, it's done. There ain't no coming back. It's done. You move on. So for him, I think he realized, like, if I'm still playing this well, that means I can still get through another season. Plus, I don't want this franchise to go out. I don't want to go out with this franchise being what it is, 3-14. My last year with the Browns, we were 3-14. Like, I don't think he wants to say that. He wants to leave this place in a better place than it was when he got there. So I think for him, trying to win games this season is going to be big. But also having that responsibility, and I don't know if he wanted it or not, but it's going to be bestowed upon him. They drafted Zach Zinter last year in the 2nd round, or in the 3rd round, 4th. Third round.
3rd round.
And when he was out there, he didn't look well. And if you're a true veteran on a team, you take accountability into that. Like, he's part of my unit. That's our group. When I was in Seattle, they said that whoever the worst person is, that's how we're judged as a unit. Like, we got the Earls and the Cams and all of them, but people care about the worst guy. If he looks trash, then that means that we didn't do our part. And I think Joel Bitonio is in that same vein, that Zach Zinter didn't look well when he was out there. And he's like, that's on me. Like, if this is going to be my last year and I know he's going to be the guy taking over for me, maybe it's not him. Maybe he's taking over for Wyatt Taylor, whoever the case may be. I need to make sure this guy is ready, because if that's the case, then I can't feel comfortable leaving. Like, I can feel comfortable leaving if I know this next guy is going to ball. So I think Joel Bitonio, outside of him playing exceptionally well for his last season, I think he's going to make sure he get those young guys ready, and that's kind of his parting gift to the Cleveland Browns.
It's great. I mean, it's great to have him on the team. I'm shocked that he's not retiring after he said he was undecided just a couple of weeks ago. I was leaning in a direction, but I'm glad to be pleasantly surprised. And he obviously is a great influence, a great leader. He's great with the media. He's fantastic. He becomes the 2nd longest tenured Browns since
Phil Dawson.
Well, yeah, Phil Dawson.
Well, Joe Thomas, then Phil Dawson.
Yeah. Well, he passes Joe. So Joe played 11 years. Phil Dawson played 14. He's the only player. Once Bitonio plays a game this season, he'll be the only player besides Phil Dawson to play more than 11 years for the Browns, since Clay Matthews did it into the 90s, and Ozzie Newsome, I think his last year was 1990.
Charlie Hewlett didn't make it that long?
I thought he played like a decade, didn't he?
Let's see.
I'll look up Hewlett. I'll look up Hewlett. Let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
The Bitonio news immediately makes me think, and I already had this thought, but even makes me think it even more is going to come true. They're drafting a quarterback at 2. How crucial and important could a guy like Bitonio, a guy who's seen everything at the NFL level, be towards helping a new rookie quarterback understand defenses, understand protections, and how important is that relationship to have a guy like that on the offensive line for whoever the Browns draft at quarterback, whether it be 2, 33, whenever.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think it's big.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's big because the team doesn't have a lot of veterans on that offense that you can rely upon. And he's one of those guys that through thick or thin, it doesn't matter. Like, he's going to – the guy wears brown and orange, on his sleeves. Like, the guy is a diehard lifer with the Cleveland Browns. Adam just mentioned how long he's been here, 12 years. Like, this will be the second longest tenure Brown of all time. I mean, yeah, this guy's going to help – because I think he cares about where this franchise goes beyond when he plays.
Yeah.
Which is something that's really special about this individual player, is that he does care about this organization, and there's not many guys out there that do. So 100%, even if he's here for a year with the rookie quarterback, like, he's going to give it his all, and he's going to help this organization, at least in his mind. He's going to give it everything he has so that they can win, obviously in the short term, hopefully for his sake, because he's going to be here for this season, and then for the long term.
And then when you got a rookie quarterback in there, the thing about Joel Bitonio is he's going to demand everybody be ready. It's not like guys go in that game and not ready. Like, I know this is Joel Bitonio's last season, so therefore I want to make this a memorable season.
Do we know it's definitely going to be his last?
I mean, it's the last year of his contract.
Yeah, well.
So they probably not. Ain't it the last year of his contract?
It is.
I'm pretty sure.
It is, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I don't think.
And he said, Tyler, sorry to interrupt you, but he said he either had 1 or 2 more years left before last season. You don't consider retirement, come back, end of a contract, and then decide, oh yeah,
unless they're like a surprise playoff team, maybe that changes his mind. Who knows? But,
yeah. But I think in my mind, in everybody's mind, this is probably Joel Bitonio's last year. So that offensive line, they got to come with it. We got to make sure we one of the best units in here because we don't want to let our brother down. And as a quarterback, it is it feels good to know, like, the blitz patterns and the biggest threat to the quarterback is A-gaps. But to know that a guy is right there, like this all-pro guy is right there, like, we're good. Like, I'm not going to be worried about that situation. So it'll make a quarterback more calm in the fact that, all right, I may at least have 2 seconds to get rid of the football. Maybe I won't have 3, but I have at least 2 seconds to get rid of this football.
Charlie Hewlett played 10 years for the Browns. Joel Bitonio needs to play 7 games this year to pass Joe Thomas on the Browns games played list, for those people who may be interested. All right, Mike.
Let's move on, get back to talking a little bit of Cavs. A quick reminder, the UCSS comedy show coming at you in exactly 3 weeks and 1 day. It is 3 weeks from Friday. Yeah. Bull's performing, I'm performing, Ant's performing. Steve Current, Director Steve's going to get up on stage. We're trying to talk G. Bush into doing something too. But get your tickets. Hilarities. All money goes to charity. It goes to the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, want to spend a fun night with your favorite UCSS crew members, we hope to see you guys on March 28th at Hilarities on East 4th. Back to the Cavs we go, guys, and it has been an incredible start to the season for Cleveland. Steve, if you want to take $2.99 here full whenever you get a chance. The Cavs, through 62 games, are 52-10. That ties the 8th best start in the history of the NBA. They have 3 separate 12-game or more win streaks this season alone. That is only the second time in the history of the league that has ever happened. The 06-07 Mavs.
That's funny. I would have thought it was, the Bulls or the Warriors that had that record.
The
06-07 Mavs.
The Cavs' other win streaks this year, I know, are 15. What was the other one? Was it 12 exactly?
12-12, yeah. And the current one they're on is 12.
And they won 16 of 17.
Yep. If you take just their wins from the 3 win streaks, so 12, 12, and 15, that gets you to 37. 39.
Yeah.
My bad, my math sucks. The Cavs would be in 4th place in the Eastern Conference. If they lost every other game that wasn't part of the 3 win streaks,
that's funny.
They would have 39 wins, 3 more than Milwaukee, who is currently in 4th place in the Eastern Conference. It's the best start in team history. The season they won 66 games. They started 51-11, 1 game back between 52 and 10. My question to you guys is this. We obviously talk about the Cavs every day on this show. But are we appreciating the greatness enough of what we are seeing from this team on a day-to-day basis? Have we put this into context? Are we fully appreciating the greatness we are witnessing here, Bull?
I don't know how we would define that, but I'd say yes. I mean, we spent on this show, we've spent way more time talking about the Cavs than we ever have. I mean, I think we've talked about him even more than we were on the radio percentage-wise when LeBron was playing, because the regular seasons were kind of boring in a way. Now, personally, I'm kind of done with the regular season. I want this next month to go by fast. But I've enjoyed regular season basketball for the Cavs as much, if not more, than any season since I've lived here. Mm-hmm. And it's been fun because they play hard every night. Mm-hmm. They play every night. The Cavs don't do a lot of this maintenance day stuff.
No, they do. It might be one. But the thing is, you always have a superstar. Like, they don't rest the whole starting five.
Right.
Like, it's not that. Exactly. It's like Donovan might not play this night, or Evan ain't going to play this night, but the rest is. Like, that's how they doing it. But I think, to answer the question, I think, honestly, no. I don't think that people are appreciated enough, because I think that, to your point, what you said at the end of that is, I'm ready for the regular season to be done. You know, for a lot of people, it's not the fact. I don't think they realize that the Cavs have done these streaks and how rare that is, because in their mind, all they're thinking about is playoffs. What's this team gonna do in the playoffs? Oh, what's this team gonna do in the guard? Or Boston in the playoffs? Boston. But to the point where I don't think people really are paying attention to the fact that, like, 3 times in 1 year they went 12 or better on. If
they lose in the semifinals to the Bucks, are you going to look back at the season fondly?
I'm going to look back on this season and say I was a great run. At least they did some magical things.
There's only one way to look back if they don't make it to the finals, and that's a disappointment.
Right. And that's what makes it tricky. Part of you want.
Again, I'm right.
I think you could enjoy the ride.
I don't think people are.
But it's hard in basketball.
Because in everybody's mind, it's all about the playoffs. And I mean, I get it. I totally get it. But like to say that we really been paying, like, people been appreciative of how great. No.
How do we look back at those 07 Patriots?
You don't even think about it.
Right.
They lost.
That's a shame, too. 18-0.
I don't agree. I think we have spent so much time talking about this team, way more than we have in the past.
I agree with that.
Fans are bananas for this team. The place is packed every night. We've talked about them in such minutia that we really only normally reserve for football. So I don't think they're being underappreciated at all. Now, you want to say, is the national media underappreciating them? Maybe. A, I don't care. B, I don't watch enough national media to know what the truth is.
No,
but I don't know. Are you watching national media? I mean, I don't. I never put on ESPN unless I'm watching a game these days. Ever.
I forget where. I'll be somewhere, and every time I'm somewhere, I'm at the radio station. They always got ESPN on, and they got the captions on, and I'm reading Mad Dog say what he says. Even they obviously gave them their flowers. Kendrick Perkins gave them their flowers. But there's a bunch of other people.
Is anybody talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder anymore? I doubt it.
I mean, out of the West, that's.
Did they win last night? Who won that game last night? The Grizz.
I don't know.
OKC won.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 51-11. But awesome. I don't know if they're getting any more hype. It is what it is.
Well, but they don't have the defending champs on their side.
Right.
Like, to them in the West, it's like, who's going to beat them in the West?
The Celtics are going to be the favorites until they lose.
Rightfully so. But I'm saying that blurs people, like, because in their mind, that's all they're thinking about is, when this team plays Boston in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where everybody want to fast forward to. Like, all right, let's get to the Boston Celtics in the playoffs, to the point where I think you could overlook some of the stuff.
I know what the Cavs' last loss was?
It was to Boston.
How long ago was it, though?
The beginning of February, right?
It's been over a month.
Yeah.
Haven't lost a game in a month. First team in the NBA to
But we talk about these things all the time. I don't buy that we're not appreciating it enough. I mean, give me something we could do that would prove that
I'm not saying you guys aren't.
I'm not saying you in particular.
No, I know, but what is it that's not being done that could be done to me? It's so abstract what you guys are talking about that it's hard you can't really pinpoint.
I just feel like people are over this.
I just think that's a basketball thing.
Maybe.
No?
It could be. That could be it. It's a lot of people enjoying what the Lakers is doing right now, and it's still the regular season.
Who, though? Outside of Lakers fans. Nobody cares.
Well, there's a lot of Lakers fans.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that root for just players and watch the league and are fans of just the NBA in general. Yeah, people are watching what Los Angeles is doing and kind of excited about seeing if they can make a run.
They're like, this team could be the team in the West.
Well, what they're doing is kind of new. The Cavs have been playing.
I want to see the Lakers in the finals.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's new, but the Cavs. This is the third time in one season that they've had 12 wins in a row.
But we've talked about it a lot. I mean, Nobody cares here about the Lakers. We're not talking about the Lakers.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that care about the Lakers.
I disagree. I think that a lot of people care about the Lakers. My son is 11 years old, and he's like, LeBron and Luka are on. You watching? I'm like, yeah, we're watching. I mean, people care.
I don't know.
And by the way,
the Lakers are a popular team. I get it.
Well, because the face of the league
LeBron is over there. Yeah.
And he was from this area and played on our team. How cool would it be, by the way? I just said this.
Lakers
Cavs finals. Come on, let's go.
It's not out of It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Let's go.
End the championship drought with LeBron and continue
Wouldn't that be
by
something?
beating
It would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be something? Oh man, you know what's funny though?
Yeah,
it's because what would happen is if that happened, they would bring the clips of. Didn't LeBron say on Travis Kelce stuff that he like cheering for the Cavs and he wants them to win another ring and all those, and people was like, I don't know if you really feel that way. Well, if he lose to them, I mean that's kind of wild. Like
what? Like he tanked the series?
No, I wouldn't say he tanked the series, but it'd be kind of wild, like to say like you won your ring against the person that won you your last ring. Like it's kind of crazy. Like it truly would mean that we've moved on from the LeBron.
Well, this franchise has never won. Literally has never won without the guy that wears number 23.
I think they've won 2 playoff series, 3 maybe.
Yeah, not even close.
Without LeBron, maybe 4. I don't know. Not many.
It's not many.
I think the Cavs have gotten. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if they've gotten to a conference final. I think they did once.
I can look it up.
With Jordan, that wasn't the conference finals.
No,
I don't think it was the conference finals.
No.
I can tell you.
I think
LeBron was here through. Left in 19, correct? 18-19 season he left.
Yeah.
So if you go back.
Let's go back before
92, they did make the conference finals.
Oh, it was 92?
92, they lost in 6 to the Bulls.
Okay.
And in 75-76, they lost in the They've made it twice without
LeBron.
Twice
to the conference final. Right. In 75-76, you only had to win 1 round to get to the conference final.
That is
right?
correct. Yes, they started in the conference semis.
That's how it should
and
be.
then, yeah.
All right.
One last thing, we'll move on.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, to have 3 separate 12-game win streaks in the first 62 games of the season is absurd.
It's wild.
And Donovan talked about this. I asked Donovan last night, you guys haven't played your best basketball in the last 4 games. And I don't want to call it a slump because you're in the middle of a 12-game win streak, but you're not playing your best. And he said, and I loved his answer. He goes, we clinched a playoff berth tonight. Let's clap it up real quick. Did a little clap. Let's move on. That was the expectation. We have much bigger goals. And secondly, it's cool we're on a 12-game win streak. The only people talking about this win streak right now are people outside of this building. To us, it's all about playoff prep. The first win streak was cool. We had that in our minds. It's obviously impossible to ignore 15-0 when you start a season like that. But the one in the middle of the season and this one doesn't faze us. We barely realize it from the inside perspective. And I just like to hear that from the team's best player and leader. You know, we could talk about it and make a big deal out of it. And it is a big deal. But to them, it's a game-by-game process. And I think that's part of the reason they've been so successful during the regular season thus far.
Yeah. I think they take every game seriously. Not to the point where it's over the top and you're wearing guys out, because clearly that's not happening. But every time they're on the court, this team wants to win. There's no nights off. That one game in Miami a while back felt like they took a night off, kind of. Outside of that, I know they got crushed by Oklahoma City, but they play hard every night.
Because here's the thing, man. There's not one guy on the team that's like the lead dog who says I'm gonna pull back tonight. Like the entire team, they're all pulling their weight.
Yeah.
And because I don't know, they're such a great team overall.
Yeah.
That they're not gonna just buy into like, we can take this night off. Like, man, they're just not that. They don't have that in their DNA.
Well, I have to give credit a little bit to J.B. Bickerstaff because he
100%.
was the first person that told them that. Like when you was a young player, he made them practice hard and all those things. Mm-hmm. And although he's not here anymore and he's doing a great job with Detroit, and obviously it worked out for both parties, but you can't deny the fact that at least those guys' bodies is conditioned to go hard, like on a night-to-night basis. So Kenny comes in, and Kenny can do the things that he's doing because he doesn't have to teach effort because JB had that as a foundation. Like, y'all going to give me 100% effort. So, actually, it worked out perfectly. You know, so to give a little credit to JB, even though he's not here anymore, I do want to acknowledge the fact that you can't deny the fact that he helped build a solid foundation because he dealt with these guys when they were first coming into the league, and he molded them correctly.
Been just an incredible season so far. I wonder at the end of the season if they have a chance to win 70 games, if that will mean anything to them.
Tune in tomorrow because that's what we're going to lead the YouTube show with.
All right.
They got to go 18-2 to become the third team ever to win 70 regular season games. It's only happened twice before. We're going to dive into that tomorrow. All right, guys, if you're not already a member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, first and foremost, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you want even more content, become a Starters Tier and Coaches Tier member of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Starters Tier membership is $1.99 a month. It gets you loyalty badges, custom emojis, and members-only community posts. For $4.99 a month, you get all the same Starter Tier perks, plus overtime videos, member shoutouts, discount codes for merch, and much, much more. We've had some audio issues with overtime the last 2 days. We had IT look at it. Hopefully it's fixed. We apologize sincerely for the audio issues in overtime the last few days, and hopefully it does not happen again, but you get about 10 to 15 minutes of extra content Monday through Thursday if you're a Coaches Tier member. And also, while we're promoting stuff, text the number at the bottom of your screen right there if you want to become a newsletter subscriber. Every Monday we send out a newsletter. It's all the best things you missed from the prior week on UCSS, plus a schedule for what's coming ahead and a top 5 list from Director Steve. Not this Director Steve, but executive producer Director Steve. All right, Bull.
Executive producer, Director Steve? What does that mean?
I said this, Steve. I meant EP Steve in Atlanta. He sends out the top 5. If Director Steve started making top 5s, that'd actually be a great idea.
I would laugh.
You know what, EP Steve?
I would laugh.
Yeah. By the way,
it would be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
When COVID first started and all the sports shut down,
March 7th.
Yeah, Dustin and I were still expected to do a 5-hour radio show every day. So anybody that does what we did knows that was the worst time. Obviously, it was a terrible time for the country, but selfishly, it was the worst time ever to do radio. There was literally nothing to talk about. And normally on a radio station,
we have commercials.
You have like 15 to 18 minutes of commercials in an hour. During COVID, we had like 3 minutes of commercials, maybe? I mean, maybe 4 minutes?
Maybe 5.
So not only were we still doing a 5-hour show, but we had to do like 4 hours and 40 minutes instead of probably 3 hours and 40. So
sheesh.
We were doing the most random stuff, and what we did for a while was did a top 5 list. So remember we were doing that?
We did everything, dude.
It was dark day.
It was the hackiest of hack radio
so
of all time.
I mean, you had no sports from March till baseball came back in like late June, I think it was.
I was working at a TV station and only had to fill 3.5 minutes of local sports, but when there's not even national sports to fill in for the local, it was.
You know, I remember when Korean League baseball started. Dude, I was watching that.
I don't even want to think about this. It gives me the willies.
Y'all was probably talking a lot lot The Last Dance because we
did talk about that.
He dropped that at a perfect time.
Yeah. That did come out.
It was a great documentary. The timing of it put it on another pantheon because it was something to look forward to every week when content wasn't coming out. Like I'm going to try to get Director Steve to do a top 5 for the newsletter.
Yeah, there you go.
His choice, whatever he wants.
Top 5 klezmer instruments.
Whatever Director Steve wants, I'll let him make it top 5.
Top 5 instruments. You're a music guy.
We used to do like, who'd win in a fight?
Yeah, right.
McNuggets or Steve?
Yeah.
Listen, if anyone votes Steve on that one, no offense.
All right, let's do that right now.
ESPN was doing.
Steve can try. we can
Go ahead. That could be an overtime topic.
That would be an overtime topic. So yesterday, a report came out from all the big NFL newsbreakers that DK Metcalf wants out of Seattle. And on the surface, the Browns probably don't fit the criteria of the teams he wants to go to. He said he wants to go to a contender. Chances are the Browns not a contender. But if you look at Andrew Berry's track record, he's addicted to trading third-round picks for wide receivers. 3 years in a row, he's made some sort of trade to bring in a receiver. Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, and Amari Cooper. And all 3 of those guys, or 2 of those guys really, I don't want to say more, had really good first seasons with the Cleveland Browns when they got there. The Browns most likely to draft a rookie quarterback, may want to get as many weapons for said rookie quarterback. Tyvis, should Andrew Berry at least call Seattle and inquire about the possibility of trading for DK Metcalf? I know they're not a contender, but it could help a young rookie quarterback.
First of all,
and I'm going to bull last
as opposed to an old rookie.
I'm going to bull last on this one. Tyler Shook's 26. He is an old rookie quarterback.
You need to cut that out right there. All right, I don't like the look on your face when you ask me this question. Yes, why not? Listen, we need more guys. Listen, DK Metcalf is one of those players that, it's in there. But he's also never played with a really good quarterback. Now, granted, the Browns don't have that right now, so I totally get that. But it's just the fact that we need more weapons. When you play the Cleveland Browns right now, if this roster is going out there on the field as currently constructed, the quarterback, I could care less who's at the quarterback. But if you just look at this offense as a whole right now, there's only one, maybe two guys that you're worried about. Jerry Jeudy has to be taken care of. And David Njoku? Is that the only two guys?
I guess.
All right. So, it's going to be
anybody worried about David Njoku?
That's what he's got to be out there. That's the thing for him. He's got to be healthy. But I'm just saying, but then you're going to tell me you're going to insert a rookie quarterback in there, and that's his offense. Help the young person succeed. Give them some weapons. At least – if worst case scenario, he could throw a slant or he could throw a now ball right to him, DK, and make a play. Give him some weapons out there to work with so he could be successful, so he doesn't be discouraged as a rookie or even if you go get a veteran, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we need more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. The Jerry Jeudy thing was great, but a lot of teams picked up on that as the season went on. And his numbers went from him being, second or third in the league to him dropping down to 8th, 9th, something like that. Get me wrong, the quarterback play is what it was. All I'm saying is you can never have too many weapons.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. And the reason it's not happening is the Browns, if you add DK Metcalf, they're not any better. Wins and losses, I don't think. Maybe a win or two. I don't know. But it's not significant to the point where it's going to make a difference between you making the playoffs or winning the conference or winning the division. No. I'm all about what you're saying, though, man. Let's get some pieces around the young quarterback. You've got to have some good players to throw the football to. I don't know about you guys. I watched Seattle last year a few games because obviously I love Geno Smith.
JSN.
But, dude, Metcalf was frustrated with that team.
Yeah.
Not getting the ball with that team.
Yeah.
You're going to put him on the Browns? I give it a week. I give it a month before he wants out of Cleveland.
Yeah. So
no chance.
Obviously, DK Metcalf is a very talented player.
Awesome player.
He's been a bit of a disappointment statistically.
We thought he was going to be the next Megatron.
Right. He hasn't put up crazy numbers. I think he's only gone over 1,100 yards once in his career.
He has not played with the best quarterbacks.
Okay, but Geno's a lot better than what the Browns got.
That's fair.
At least Geno's.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
Browns got zeros. So
he's gone over 1,100 twice for the record.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, he had 1,300 yards in 2020 and 1,114, so just over in 23.
Twice. So he's got 1 year left on his contract, right?
Correct, and he wants a new deal.
So the Browns, who are in not a good cap position, are going to give up a high asset.
What is it, a third round?
Well, they supposedly want a first and third, which are obviously not.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
I don't know what it would take. But you want to give up the 90th pick in the draft for a guy that's got 1 year left. You can't. He puts you over the cap. Then you got to pay him $35 million a year at least.
Spotrac has his projected cap number next year, average annual salary at 28.
No, he's getting more than that.
It ain't like he's coming off the greatest season.
Jefferson and Jason, those guys.
Jamar Chase is going to get 40.
Yeah, so he's not.
He ain't getting 40.
I know that, but he's in that next
He might
tier.
get 30.
T. Higgins is going to get 30.
Well,
DK Metcalf, I think, is considered more highly than T. Higgins. Whatever. Okay, so it's 28. Or not, whatever. Somewhere between 26 and 32. Fine. He's going to make a lot of money. The Browns already are paying Jerry Jeudy. You're going to spend $50 million on receiver or $45 million on receivers when you have very little else. You spend that money on receivers when you're ready to win. I think the Browns, we're so obsessed with the Browns spending in free agency and making trades. They need to learn how to freaking I was almost cursed. I'm like, they have to learn how to draft and get young players and develop. You can't win constantly signing 27, 28, 29-year-olds. They have almost no good players under 26. They have to win that.
I think you're missing the key point.
Yeah.
The key thing in this situation. You're thinking long term.
Right.
They thinking my job's on the line.
Thank you, Tyvis.
I don't know why you keep talking like develop. They don't got time for that. If they don't win this season, they're gone. Well, so therefore, if I'm AB, I'm doing everything. Because if I get fired and we ain't got no, I can care less. It ain't my problem.
That's a disaster too. Because if you're making decisions just for one season and not get fired, that's inexcusable. And Jimmy Haslam should not allow that to happen. He should fire them right now if that's how they're going to behave.
I'm just saying.
Plus, as Dustin said, and he's right, DK Metcalf would not want to be here.
There's no chance.
They're going to suck. He's going to be miserable.
You know how many players they got traded here that didn't want to be here but still went out and had productive seasons?
Who?
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. They all had productive seasons.
Odell Beckham was not good
for 1,000 yards. Would you not take that now?
This is not 1984. 1,000 yards.
This was like 5 years ago.
1,000 yards is not a great season.
To have two wide receivers go for 1,000 yards?
It's just to have
okay, so Jerry Jeudy does what he does, and to have another guy go for 1,000 yards.
Jarvis Landry's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Odell went for 1,000 yards the same year.
They brought in Odell Beckham to be a superstar. He wasn't a superstar.
That's fine, but I would take 2,000-yard receivers on my team.
Okay, but what else?
How many wins are they going to get?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what the Browns' record was that year. We need production. We don't have any. You two are just so. Y'all are so this is the thing. Y'all two are so into the fact that it's not going to happen next year.
Yeah.
So we need to just worry about the next 2 years and 3 years from now. And y'all forgetting the simple fact that this coaching staff and general manager, it can't think like that.
But why would you give up a potential top 100 pick for a guy who's going to leave in a year? Because if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm not allowing that trade to happen.
If he leaves in a year and I get fired, who cares?
Right, but Jimmy Haslam's ultimately the final say. I wouldn't let that trade happen.
I mean, Jimmy Haslam's going to have to sign off on them trading for a DK Metcalf.
Yeah, of course, because you're going to have to pay him, or he's going to walk away in a year, and he's going to be a curmudgeon the whole time because the team's going to suck. Of course, they need more talent, Tyvis. They need to do it in the draft. Forget free agency. The Browns should not be significant players in free agency. A couple of key guys, reasonable rates. You want a couple of veterans to kind of mentor the young guys.
You got to sign some guys to run down on kickoffs and those things, but they're not going to be big-time splash moves.
They got to get younger. They have the Browns must have less young talent than any team in football.
And remember at one point they were the youngest team in football, 6 years ago?
Right. That's true. Now they suck.
Those days are long gone.
I get what you're saying. I understand, for the fans, the idea of DK Metcalf is exciting. You have DK, you have Jerry Jeudy. Maybe you start Joe Flacco or Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins or some other retread who's going to look great for 4 weeks, and then you're going to con yourselves into believing that they can make a playoff run until you don't make the playoffs or you lose by 30 in the first round.
They're going to con themselves and say we should extend them after two.
Oh, God. Are you here for that? Oh, yeah.
Which one is this?
Let's extend Jameis now.
Bush and Jay wanted to extend.
Was it after the Ravens game?
Was it after the Ravens?
Was it the Ravens or Steelers?
Or the Steelers?
I think it was this.
It was after he played 2 good games.
The snow game?
Oh, hold on. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, and G's in the chat. Shout out G. Bush who's in the chat.
Yeah.
I think G wanted to give him $700 million after the Ravens game, and then Jay said let's give him $2.2 billion.
No, seriously.
No, I know.
I think Jay came around. $25 million. Jay's whole argument against me was you got to get ahead of it. He's going to get big money in the off. He's getting no money.
Jay came around after. G was the first one on, and then Jay joined the bus after the Steelers game.
But then Jay doubled down because he was like, you got to pay him. If you pay him now,
Sean
you
King
can get him for less.
We love Sean, but he was the worst of them. Sean said 3 for $90.
He's getting what is Jameis Winston getting in free agency this year? $5 million?
Between 5 and 10.
Ish. Okay.
Yeah.
These guys wanted to pay him an extension. lunatics around. This is what I'm dealing with, lunatics over here.
No what? To see if G was in the chat. I ain't seen.
He was.
G's in the chat.
Oh, I didn't see him. I had scrolled.
It's funny, you think about the moves the Browns are going to make.
Yeah.
We don't know the mindset.
That's true.
We
That's
almost are
Yeah.
like us in these chairs.
Well-
whoever happens to be in these chairs on a particular day.
Yeah.
We're kind of going to react to what they do. Be like, okay, well, if they're doing that, then
Yeah.
they must be thinking they're going to be this.
Right.
Because we don't know what they're thinking
No.
about their team. Their quality control internally.
According to David Njoku, they just need a healthy quarterback.
I didn't mention this earlier, but I actually
Yeah.
have a question. This goes back to the Bitonio thing in relation to what Dustin just said. If Bitonio retired, would they get that cap money back?
Yes.
So if the Browns were in straight,
Not the dead cap money.
but the cap money that they would have
But
paid
like,
him.
for example, Sam Hubbard retired. He was going to count against the cap if they had kept him, I believe, like 10, 11 million. And instead, he's going to only count the dead cap, which the Bengals don't do much dead cap. But I think for him, it's like 2 million. So they got 8 million off the cap with him retiring.
So let me just work this out as we're
The
talking
Browns
to each
do
other.
more dead cap, though, so I don't know what his dead
I'll look
cap
up Bitonio, but let's just work this out real
Yeah.
quick. If, in theory, the Browns are ready for a total rebuild, would Bitonio – I mean, obviously it's up to Bitonio to decide if he wants – you're not going to say don't come back, but is there a chance they would have been like, hey, Joel, we appreciate your contributions, but we could use that cap space elsewhere as opposed to not talking him into coming back, but pushing him to come back? And if he's coming back, doesn't that kind of signal they may be more, we got to win now because we know we're on the hot seat?
Yeah,
To
but
you, or am I looking too far?
They may
into it?
want to win now, but the odds that they're going to be able to do that are minuscule. So they could win all. Like, what would be what would they do differently with a total rebuild? Yeah, they could trade Myles Garrett. That would signal a more serious rebuild, and they don't appear to be willing to do that. I still think when it's all said and done, if somebody makes a good enough offer, they'll trade Myles Garrett.
I
know they
think
keep
when
saying
it's
they
all
won't.
said and done, he will be traded. I say before the
Yeah.
start of this season, I think he will be traded.
Before the draft or before the start of the
No,
season?
not to draft because he can't. I don't think they're gonna want to do anything until the post June 1st thing because doesn't his cap hit go down or something like that after June 1st?
I don't remember.
It's a new league year.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna wait till after that. But I 1,000% think he's gonna get traded.
That rule is stupid, by the way. The NFL should fix this. There shouldn't be like stop with this post June 1st cap. Yeah. Just switch it when the league year changes. And
But yeah, I agree. We don't know the mindset. I mean, yes. Ultimately, the right way to build a team is to hit in the draft. Problem is, we have not done that. And now you're telling me with my job on the line, now I have to do that. And I'm that.
But
So is he gonna get it? So he finally gonna get it right?
Okay,
Because if he does, then yes,
Let me ask
that's
you.
exactly how I would do it. Then I would go sign a couple veteran players, and boom,
who's the
away
best
we go.
quarterback you think they can get, veteran-wise?
Darnold
would be the answer.
Okay, but even though he fell on his face at the end of the year,
He'd be the best
he's
option.
still going to be out of their price range.
Yes,
Don't you think?
I would agree.
Okay,
but-
so realistically.
but you just said who?
All right, well, now change it. Realistically, who do you think the best quarterback they can get is?
I mean,
Joe
we're
Flacco.
talking about Flacco. We're talking about
Cousins?
I
think
Cousins. I'd rather Flacco.
I'd rather Flacco.
You
Yeah.
already know he works.
Okay. Now, what are the odds Flacco's going to be able to play well for an entire season at this point in his career?
Anybody at that age, it's 50-50.
I mean, that's
or probably,
anybody.
probably at
That's
best.
any of them that we just
Okay.
anybody.
So if you sign Joe Flacco to be your quarterback and you trade for DK Metcalf and do nothing else major besides that because they wouldn't have much more money, like how many games would you expect to win next year?
7.
Okay, you're not going to the playoffs with 7 wins.
Yeah, but you keep your job.
But why? Like that, you're not making any real progress if you win 7 by having Joe Flacco as your quarterback.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Let me ask you.
You keep your
Yeah.
job if you're Kevin and AB. That's probably operation 1.
Yeah.
Depending on how the games go,
Yeah.
you're at least competitive, which if you're not going to be good, at least make the games good. At least be competitive. You lose off some last-second field goal or touchdown, 2-minute drive at the end, you don't like, okay, but at least it was a good game. You'll have that, and you'll have people like at least saying like, all right, next year, like maybe we could do something.
But nobody would be saying that because if you won 7 games with Joe Flacco as your quarterback, nobody's saying, oh, well, maybe they'll win 9 next year with Joe Flacco.
Oh, it depends on what they do with the picks.
But I mean, don't you think that if Flacco comes back to Cleveland, there's going to be a stud rookie quarterback on the roster?
I would assume.
Right? So if you win 7 games and then that young player is hopefully learning from Flacco.
Yeah.
Maybe he plays at some point. We just said
Right.
it, 50-50. Flacco would stay healthy the whole year anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, and that is giving me hope. That to me would give me.
That's probably
keep the
what
job
they would do.
if the young guy plays, not if Joe Flacco. And it's fine if Joe starts the season, but at some point, hopefully,
I
the young
think
guy's ready to go.
from an attendance standpoint, and just to give the fans something to be excited about, Joe would probably be the best.
It's just a way to
answer.
con the fans.
Whatever, however you want to call it.
Fans should not pay money.
However you want to call
see
it.
some washed-up veteran quarterback.
If it came down today that the Browns signed Joe Flacco, it'd be a great percentage of this fan base that'll be like, you know what? I tune in to see that.
It's sad, but
Dude,
true.
our fans our poor fans are so beaten down that they will pay to go watch just any sort of competent offense.
I know.
Yeah.
Competent meaning like average.
He gave us, exciting play.
He was
for 5 weeks,
he was
6
one of the
weeks.
best quarterbacks that we had that was comfortable putting his back to the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he made poor decisions and he threw picks, but
threw picks.
But he was exciting.
But it was exciting. The offense looked like an NFL offense.
Yeah.
It looked like
The
Stefanski
team was
comfortable
happier.
calling the plays.
Yeah, the team was happier.
Overall,
He was fun.
The
We liked him. It
defense
was fun to watch.
rolling. I tell you what, I tell you what was funny is that I still think the Jim Schwartz hire 2 years ago was very impactful because I always said it changed the mindset of the players. They brought the physicality to everybody else, and I think that year they were successful because it caught a lot of people off guard. Last year, people brought the fight to them because they thought that's the Browns' new motto. We come in and we're gonna be a physical bunch.
Yeah.
And obviously they wasn't accepting that challenge last year. And don't get me wrong, I know the offense had their struggles and all those things, but overall, the fight didn't look like it was there.
Well,
like
the Browns
they
have
used to.
never been able to fight. I mean, it's been 30 years since the Browns went to the playoffs in consecutive seasons. So they've never been to follow ever in 30 years followed up a good season with another one.
Don't you wonder when it's gonna be? Like, when are you gonna look up one day? Don't you want to look up one day and be like, the Browns is like
Consistent
get a
winner.
they like the Chiefs, like they just always win.
Never
Ain't
gonna
that
happen
gonna
till
be
you get a
something?
quarterback.
They gonna be
It will
sitting
be
there
something.
like the Browns is actually one of the best teams in the NFL consistently
Yeah.
year after. You can't get to the Super Bowl if you don't beat the Browns.
you know
That
what?
would be
You know what, though,
like,
Travis?
wow.
Try to be the Chiefs. Like, that's nearly like,
It's still people that's been waiting their entire lives to
Yeah.
say that, and
Hopefully
I
we'll all
feel
get to see
so
it
bad
before
for
we
them.
go.
I
Yeah,
hope they pull it together.
Yeah.
And I know right now it seems so far fetched, but you never know, man. The right guy could change things.
Well, Cavs fans did win this championship back in 2016, and that's going to get us to our next topic. After a quick word from FanDuel, when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on that action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you missed the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action, and if you're looking for bigger payouts, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So in the midst of the Cavs beating the Miami Heat last night, Kevin Love came back and played his first game in Cleveland since leaving the Cavs over 2 seasons ago. He got a tribute video in the middle of the first quarter. It was a special moment. We'll show you guys the tribute video in a sec.
Yeah.
But after the game, Steve, if you want to take tag board here full, Kevin Love said the Cavs have told him that his jersey will be retired by the team and hung next to Nick Gilbert's in Rocket Arena when he decides to officially hang up his shoes. Any issue with the Cavs, not issue, but right or wrong decision by the Cavaliers to retire Kevin Love's uniform and his jersey when he all hangs up and retires?
No. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that. I mean, it was their third best player on the only championship team the franchise has ever had.
Yeah, he's one of the best players the Cavs have had
Yeah.
in franchise history. They won a title.
Yeah, I would.
He
I'm
said he
waiting
was
on.
going to go in the Hall of Fame as a Cav.
That was my next question. Hall of Fame as a Cav, played 7.5 years here, 8.5 years. I forget exactly the number.
Yeah.
Obviously won a title with the team.
Yeah.
His legacy as a player is in Cleveland, period. And I think
he was a better
in Minnesota. I might just say in Minnesota.
He was better statistically with
yes,
Minnesota.
I agree with that.
But he won here.
Sit down, fellas.
That 2020 thing was ridiculous.
Dustin, take him to school here.
It's not even take him to school.
No,
because
I agree.
his numbers were better when he was in Minnesota when he was fat.
Yeah.
Okay, he came to Cleveland and learned how to be a champion and played on a team where he was, as you said, the third best player, but he was so important. You had to have 3 stars to win in that era, which was, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever it is. But like, I just think his tenure as a pro, when he elevated his game, when he actually, like, I don't know, there are a lot of players that can put up big numbers on bad teams. Someone's got to score. Someone's got to score for the Wizards, right? I mean, someone's got to score for these teams, and he did a great job. But when he turned his body into what it was when he came to Cleveland, he became more of the outside threat. He still got rebounds offensively and defensively, but to take his game to the next level and also have to kind of take a step back in terms of being the prominent guy on the team. I'm a big Kevin Love fan. I love what he brought to Cleveland. We could not have won a title without him. I mean that. I truly do. And his number should be retired.
Well said. I agree with everything you said.
Except?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
No, the only thing is that he had better stats than
That's
Minnesota.
it. I didn't.
He wasn't winning. So
all you said was he would be remembered as a Cav, and I'm just saying. Yeah,
I think he will be. 100%.
Yeah, that's fine. But
if he had put up those stats,
that 2020, I'm never gonna forget.
Maybe it would be different, but he didn't. So
and he was after KG there, so like he was the next guy. It was KG, then it was him.
And he was asked to sacrifice more than anybody else on this team.
Yes.
And we crapped on him for it at times. I certainly did. Sometimes unfairly, and he was clutch and he made some big.
And also, like, guys, I mean, RJ made the great comment last night about it. If he doesn't have the Kelly Olynyk thing, who knows what happens, man?
He might have won another championship.
Yeah, and they could have used him because obviously Kyrie went out in that finals run.
Right.
Had Kevin Love at least been a Robin to Batman,
yeah,
they may have won the championship. They still won 2 games in that series without Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving.
Right. No, that's true. Kelly Olynyk, that bastard.
Son of a bitch.
That was the day I met Jason Lloyd.
What's that, Mike?
That was the day I met Jason Lloyd at that game in Boston.
Did you actually meet him?
We were in the locker room together. I was an intern in college, and he was obviously covering the Cavs.
Yeah. Man, Kelly Olynyk's a bum.
I just want that Deuce to get retired.
Kyrie?
There it is.
Oh, they're going to retire
of course they're
Kevin
retire.
Love's. They will absolutely
Of course
retire
they're retiring
Kyrie Irving. But that brings us to the other
Tristan
part of this
Thompson
topic.
get his number retired.
Probably, which is absurd. But
No.
I think so. Just those 3.
Yeah, dude.
J.R. Smith get his number retired.
No one's getting their number retired, man.
No.
Well, that brings us to the second part of this conversation. Well, you and I started talking about this pre-show. Tyvis was in, Dustin, you weren't here. I got into a heated debate with the other guys in press row yesterday about this. Even though we all kind of agreed, we just didn't agree on everything. They played a tribute video for Kevin Love yesterday. It was a beautiful tribute video. Mm-hmm. Well-deserved. Kevin Love deserves a tribute video. But the question I'm going to ask, and I'll give you some examples, is as a society, have we gone way too far on tribute videos for players who don't deserve them? In the last 3 seasons, these 5 guys have got tribute videos from the Cavaliers. J.B. Bickerstaff, Colin Sexton, Larry Nance Jr., Channing Frye, and Jetty Osman.
So, like, all those guys got tribute videos for, like, a unique reason. You know what I mean? Like Sexton obviously was shipped out of town for Donovan. And like, Sexton was, at one point, we thought, a key piece to build around for this team. JB, I mean, he was sort of a scapegoat for the team the last couple of seasons. Larry Nance, the family affair. I mean, come on. Channing Frye, the glue guy on the championship team, and Jetty Osman, no child left behind. The poor guy was left behind here, man, with nothing, and then off he goes. I don't know.
Tyvis, what do you got?
The Jetty Osman way. That's too far. I can make the case for a lot like
we thought the Jetty Osman video was more of a.
I can make the case for every last one of them people. Seti, I cannot, and I love.
You still can't say his name.
Jetty, like Return of the Jedi.
Jetty
Osman, yeah.
You said Seti.
Did I?
3 times.
Jetty Osman. I can't justify Jetty Osman. I just can't. He was
justify Larry Nance Jr.
Well, his dad was here.
Who cares?
Tyvis, will Karis LeVert get a tribute video when he comes back next season?
Oh, he will.
Yes, and did you just see this list? Yes, he will.
Let me tell you something, Mike. I hear guys like Dustin Fox all the time complain about everybody gets a trophy, everybody's too soft, it's a wimpy culture.
Participation
But
trophies.
these are participation trophies. That's what that is. That is flat out embarrassing that any of these guys.
Is George Niang getting one?
He probably will.
No,
and
see
just
that
is embarrassing.
Now that's ridiculous.
The only one I could even consider, and even that is patently absurd, is Channing Frye because he was on the championship team.
Channing of all those four, I agree with.
That's
because
the only
he won
one.
a title.
You still shouldn't do it because he was a minor guy.
Why not JB?
Jetty Osmond, Larry Nance Jr., Colin Sexton, and JB Bickerstaff are asinine. First of all, the fans boo JB. Why you do
I didn't even say that last night. It's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the fans don't care. What fan wants to see a tribute video to JB Bickerstaff? That doesn't mean he didn't do a decent job.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. That's not what. Because they weren't a playoff team when he first took over.
JB did a good job.
He got him to the playoffs.
I don't think the fans should have booed him. I personally wouldn't have booed him. But the fans don't give a rat's ass about him.
Clearly.
Larry Nance Jr. Could there be I know his dad played here. I guess he lived part of his life here because his dad played here. Who cares? No offense, but I'm about to offend. Larry Nance Jr. is like the most random NBA player. Like when you have one of these Instagram videos where somebody goes to a ball team and says, name a random NBA player. That's a guy you name, Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Jr. I mean, come on.
And for the record, real quick, Ty, this is not just the Cavs. This is an NBA-wide
it's a
issue.
joke.
We're talking about the Cavs.
Okay.
That is that's the wussification of America. Everybody's all uptight about Little League kids getting trophies. Who cares? They're kids. These are adults. What is Jetty Osmond? What the hell did he do?
He had some
do you hear Paul George said he was upset the Pacers never gave him a tribute video?
Well, and you know what? He should have gotten one before any of those guys.
I agree.
But I
agree with that.
But still, that's soft as hell to complain about not having a tribute video. I should be in the Brockport Hall of Fame.
You still
in the Brockport Radio Hall of Fame. I'm still bitter about it.
Yeah.
Our faculty advisors retiring. I'm not going. I refuse to go because I'm insulted by the whole college. They keep asking me for money. F you, Brockport. I'm not giving you a dime. They're going to dime for me. Slap in the face.
What do they really expect you to donate, though? I mean, what do they really expect you to
I don't know. I get donation things all the time.
Well, that's the case. So me and Dustin, he shot 37 and I shot 23 retired at O State.
I don't know.
They should do a tribute.
I'm the most successful sports broadcaster in the history of the college. Why am I not in the Radio Hall of Fame?
Well, I can't say that about O State. It's too many.
Who's the second?
Too many great ones.
Sports specific.
Well, you said it was such authority.
Yes.
Like you were better than so
Probably
many people.
My colleague, Brian Koziel. He does radio in Buffalo. You're not
going. He's a legend.
You're not going to support the retired.
No, I didn't think he was particularly supportive.
Is Brian Koziel in the Hall of Fame?
I can't remember if he's gotten in yet. I don't know.
Do you think Brian Koziel ever thought he'd get this much time on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show?
No.
Let me ask you this.
No, probably not. We'll have to bring him on when they play the Bills. Next time the Browns play the Bills.
If you was retired, would that faculty member come to your retirement?
No.
Okay.
Even though he dissed me for the Hall of Fame, but every time he would take his class to Cleveland, he'd be calling me to talk to his class and bring him to the radio station.
Is this the guy that brought him in?
Yes. And I'd always be there. I'd talk to the kids. Yeah. I was happy to talk to the kids.
He was a nice guy. He screwed you?
Nah, I don't know that it's him directly. I'm just insulted. I was okay with not being in the initial class of the Hall of Fame because they put some people that kind of started the radio station.
He really is upset about this.
But there's been like 3-4 classes now. I should have been in by. There's been 2 guys that I went to college with that got in before me, and anybody that worked at the radio station at the same time as me knows it's absurd.
What about the Sheepshead Bay Hall of Fame?
No, I don't even know if there is a Sheepshead Bay Hall of Fame.
One last thing on the Cavs. I saw Marcus Morris pop in the queue, then he dipped out, so we'll get him in a
Let's talk to Marcus Morris.
The Cavaliers have officially, if they tag board full here.
Yeah.
This is from Josh Gerben, who is a patent reporter. So this is legit. This is legit. They filed a trademark.
Legit?
That's very legit.
Okay.
Filed a trademark for Cavalanche. I love it.
I hate that people can't say, like, didn't Pat Riley have a trademark for 3P?
For 3P, yeah.
Shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's just so ridiculous. Such greed. Ugh, disgusting.
I like the idea that they're filing
funny,
for
though.
a trademark because they can sell some merch now with Cavalanche on it.
If you had a good idea, wouldn't you want to trademark it?
Yes.
But
always 3P an original idea, though. Like,
yeah,
you can't,
3P is an original idea.
Didn't Ohio State try to trademark the word
the?
Or the?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you just get here?
What's wrong
The
with him?
Ohio State?
It's disrespectful.
What is?
To say the instead of the.
What's wrong with this man? The one and only.
I don't
Go
know. what's wrong
Bucks.
with him. He's out of his mind right now. All right, we got our guest or not yet?
No, give him another sec. He popped in and popped
All
out.
right, let me tell you another story while I'm belly aching.
Please.
So, yesterday I got a little heated. Yesterday was our managers meeting for Little League, right? And things got a little heated. You tell me what you think.
How do you know what I think?
So,
Little League's meeting,
Little League managers meeting.
and you got heated.
You got a little heated because we were going over rule changes, and there's this one rule change. So, if a kid misses 3 games for an unexcused absence, then the next time he comes to a game, he's got to sit on the bench in his uniform and can't play, as like a punishment for missing 3 games unexcused. And I said this was a ridiculous rule.
Why would they do that? Yeah, I was about to say why.
Okay, see, so you against me and you win me.
I have questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, unexcused absence for a baseball game?
Yeah. What? Since when did kids not want to come to the game?
Okay, this is extracurricular activity.
I'm aware.
It's not school.
I understand.
I got a letter because my kid's missed a certain amount of days.
Me
He's been sick.
I told the assistant principal, stop.
Yeah,
Kid's sick. What do you want me to do?
He's kid's sick. Everyone's sick.
I know.
Sickness is going around.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get a letter like it's
I know.
what do you call it? The truancy?
Truant, yeah.
Bullshit.
The kid's in the 6th grade. We're not cutting school.
No.
I mean, when I was in 6th grade, I was, but that was a different story.
You cut school?
Oh,
so you got to punish a kid?
Bull, I could.
That's what I said.
And by the way, if the kid misses 3 games without saying anything like, oh, he's sick or he's got this, his vacation, blah, 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 like.
If he's sick, that's fine.
Sure,
that
no,
counts as
I get it, but like, what if the kid misses 3 games without telling anybody?
Yeah.
Well,
He
he should be off the team.
I agree with that statement.
That used to be the rule was if you missed 4 games, you got kicked off the team. Because you want the kids to be reliable and show up for their teammates, and you want to have enough players to play. If you only have like 10 or 11 kids on the team,
yeah, you don't have to forfeit.
You don't have to forfeit a game. It's not fair.
Wait.
You have made a commitment, and you want the kids to honor that commitment.
100%.
But my argument was that I thought that most of the time when the kid misses the game for an unexcused reason, it's often the parent's fault, not the kid's fault. So we're going to punish the kid by making him sit at the game. I'm sure all the guys at Rocky River Little League are going to be pissed.
I've never once had a game with my son. Families are waiting in the car, and the son's in the house. He didn't want to go, so he just didn't want to play today.
Wait.
If the kid doesn't want to play baseball, don't sign him up.
So wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me get this right.
Now, it's never happened on my team. I've never had a kid miss 4
Y'all
games.
think that a kid's going to miss 3 games and then decide to show up for the next game.
Right.
And his parents is there, and they go all just watch him sit on the bench.
Yeah,
in full uniform.
In full uniform.
Yeah.
That's never gonna happen. So kick the kid off the team, and that'd be done.
The guys think it's like a lesson to teach the kids. I'm like, they're in 6th grade. I mean,
maybe after 1, do it after 1 or something like that. If 1 and then all right.
I don't love it, but it is what it is.
There's other ways to teach lessons.
But let's get back to one thing.
Yeah.
You skipped school in the 6th grade.
Not in the 6th grade, but yes.
You
no, 7th grade.
You weren't scared to get in trouble.
7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I would cut school all the time.
You wasn't afraid. You wasn't afraid to get in trouble.
No.
My mother would kill me.
Well,
the communication back then wasn't as good as it is now, though.
I would get on a city bus and be gone for 6 hours.
No one knows, and I feared her so much.
Dude, when I was in New York, I don't know if it's still this way, but we called it junior high school instead of middle school.
That's
right?
what everybody does.
Okay, I didn't know. So it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And so I would cut. I would just not go.
What did you do?
He was in New York City. He could go anywhere he wants.
Yeah,
like,
and
he could have got on a bus literally and been in
I would
another
get
borough.
on the city bus again. So, but high school, I cut a little in junior high school. But high school, so here's the funny thing. When I was in high school, my mother's a teacher, right? She was a teacher in a middle school. And her middle school, or junior high, it was not the same junior high. I went to a different junior high. But her junior high school that she taught in was across the street from my high school, literally across the street from each other. And so when I would cut school, I had to go out the other way so I wouldn't get busted by my mom. That was it. One time I did get picked up by, there would be the paddy wagon. You guys have the paddy wagon?
Is that the police?
Like the police
I
would
never,
pick you up.
yeah, I never saw
They
it.
busted me in a Burger King. I got caught in the Burger King and I got sent back to school. Besides that, I never got caught.
Why not just go to class, man?
Because it's boring. School is boring. Dude, we'd go play video, play arcade games. We'd go bowling occasionally. I'd get on the bus and go to the mall.
Only when I was like a junior and senior, we would have.
Senior dish day?
There were not senior dish day. We'd take courses almost like vocational classes at another building, and you could I drove myself to school.
Yeah.
So we could just kind of dip out. Like we don't really.
Oh yeah.
We had these things where we were supposed to go to volunteer or kind of like an internship type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
you can get away with a lot.
You mean to tell me
you got an internship? You're good to go.
You mean to tell me y'all parents never caught on to this?
My parents were divorced by the time I was in high school, so my dad was mostly out of the picture. My mom had a lot of stuff going on. I was generally mature and I didn't get into any real trouble, so she wasn't worried about me. My sister was a pain in the ass, so I got away with a lot of stuff.
See, Marcus skipped class in high school.
We got our guest.
I know Marcus ain't skipped no class.
And we can bring in our next guest. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show reach every Cleveland sports fan out there. All you got to do, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It costs you $0.00 and goes a long way for us to make the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show the best online sports show for Cleveland fans across the globe. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome on 13-year NBA veteran Marcus Morris.
Marcus,
How you doing today, Marcus?
What's up, man?
Fellas, how's it going?
Tell them you ain't cut no class back in high school.
You cut class in high
Tell
school?
them you went to every class.
See? He cut class too.
You know. I'll take it with me.
Now, by the way, if you did cut class, did you and your brother, was it both of you or none, or did you ever go 1-1?
No, I definitely was both of us.
Yeah.
It definitely was both of us because I had to confirm it with somebody to make sure that the shit was cool.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Markeith is, 10 minutes older than you? Is there something like that?
7.
Oh, 7 minutes.
7.
Does he, give you a hard time about being your older brother in that way? Not at all.
No, we never really kind of looked at it like that. We just always been, he's an older, we never really even spoken that term of him being my older brother. It's just, we brothers, twins.
Now, don't you two have the exact same tattoos, right? Ain't everything identical?
Similar, but as we got older, I started adding stuff. I got my kids. I got 3 boys, so just a lot of different things. I got married, different things we've added. That that was kind of like our younger ages when we was playing on the same team and shit. We thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It was smooth though.
Wasn't it like a story where y'all one of y'all fouled out and the other one went in the game?
Yeah, they said that. We did that in high school though. That was true. Actually, but they said it when we was in the NBA, and I'm like, listen, I'm not playing anywhere for free. So unless they got some shit under the table, they gonna slide me. That made me slide in it. That's the only way I'm stepping out on that court for another team.
All right, Marcus. Obviously, you were here last year. You know the talent that this team has. They brought back the same roster. Obviously, Ty Jerome is healthy this year, and they've traded for Hunter. Outside of that, it's basically the same roster. The team was good last year, but nothing like this. Could you have imagined they'd be this good so far?
To be honest, yes, I could have.
Okay.
First thing I would say that the organization is top notch. It's one of the top. I've been in on a few teams like 7 or 8, and the first thing I said was when I got there is they know how to keep players here. They know how to treat the players. They know how the logistical shit behind the scenes is major for guys like me that have been around the NBA, right? So When I recognized that, and I recognized how much, the guys listen, how much they like being around the game of basketball, how, the organization accept everybody for who they is. And the biggest thing was the city to me. Like, when I got there, the embrace I got from the city, I can tell that, they're ready for a winning team, and guys is like myself embrace that. So, the first thing I did is when you guys got Kenny Axon was I texted my guy and I told him, I said, listen, that might have been the best pickup that you guys could have had, had happen for the organization. Kenny is a great guy. I had a chance to spend some time with him in Clippers, and he's a very detail-oriented guy, and I knew that the roster that you guys had, he would fit perfectly.
Marcus, being in the locker room as you were last year with Evan Mobley, what's the biggest difference you've seen from him this year when it comes to his game? Because, boy, he is really, it appears, taken the step to the next level.
No, Evan Mobley, when I first got there, I seen all the stuff he can do, right? Being a point forward, I think he didn't have a chance last year to get it off the glass and kind of make guys around him better. And that was the biggest thing. Defensively, always thought he was a dog, but you see he's averaging 3 assists now. He gets a chance to push it in transition, set up other guys, run right to the pick and roll, open the floor up, and play the 5 sometime when Jarrett Allen is out. And I think that changed the game for him. And I think, too, that Kenny recognized that, right? And, when you get put in a system and the coach recognizes, all the things you could do for a team, he puts you in better positions. And I think that Kenny is really maximizing Evan Mobley's talent.
Marcus, you was here last year, obviously, with Karras and George Niang, and then you seen the Cavs go on to make this trade for DeAndre Hunter. What was your thoughts of that trade, and obviously, what you think of how it's panning out so far?
I'm a big fan of D. Hunter. He's from Philadelphia. Grew up under it, so I'm a big fan. I know what he brings to the game. Obviously, George and LeVert are 2 big pieces of what Cleveland was building over there. But I mean, look, you get a guy at his age, his aggressiveness, being able to start him, bring him off, can score the ball really well, but also is a good defender, man. I think it was a great pickup, especially for years to come. All right, he's a young player. He's still growing. He's still learning. He gets to play for a guy like Kenny that's going to put him in the spots to make him, excel. I just think it was a perfect fit, and that was a big pickup, and one of the quietest, but one of the biggest pickup during the trade deadline.
Marcus, I'm going to ask you a question that may not be able to be answered. So I'm prefacing this could be a bad question.
That's weird, Mike.
But you were here for a little bit last year. You were here for the playoffs. Donovan feels like he's taken a giant step forward this year in terms of his leadership. So when you look back at your time with Donovan, and I'm not sure if you knew him before coming to Cleveland, is Donovan a better basketball player or a better leader?
I think he's growing into his leadership role. As of now, he actually has a group of young guys that he can build up to that aren't arrogant, right? You talk about Jarrett Allen, you talk about Mobley. These guys are guys that are locker room guys that are kind of easy guys, easy going. You could tell the way they play the game. So it's also you got to have the teammates that want to be coachable, that wants to listen to you, their leader, right? Because the NBA has a lot of guys that think they can do X, Y, and Z, and you have a guy that's like Donovan that actually goes out there and do it every night. He sets an example. When I was there, he was in the gym all the time, right? So guys, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, guys, that type of stuff. And I think he's doing a great job, and I'm going to keep talking about Kenny. I think Kenny is putting him in a position where he can lead the guys.
Marcus, everybody talks about how playoff basketball is different. And obviously we've seen these Cavs do really well in the regular season. And in the playoffs, things change. Can you explain, just because I played football, I was NFL, Dustin played NFL, it's just a different vibe in the playoffs. Can you explain what makes it so different and why have the Cavs not been able to be successful in the playoffs?
I don't think I think it's more so they just getting there, right? They got young players, so you have to almost go through those growing pains to see, to experience what you want to get back to. Last year they got further than they have been in a while, right? Let's go back to the Celtics. I was there when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, when Jason Tatum was a rookie, and we kept getting into that part where we just couldn't get over it. But they're young, they're getting their experience under their belt. They got more coaches. They got other players that got better to mix in, right? And sometimes it just take longer than others. But I do believe that we're taking the right steps. I'm saying we. I'm not with Cleveland right now, but I felt a part of it because I like the team. I like the organization. But I'm saying they're taking the right steps to get to where they need to be. And listen, it's hard to win in the league during the regular season, and they've really shown that they're a really good team and beating really good teams. So to me, I think they're ready. I think they're prime ready. I think Kenny was the missing piece. And last year was an experience, and Donovan came to show up, and guys came to show up, and Evan is growing. I think to get over that hump this year, I think it's a real chance that you get over the hump.
If the Cavaliers make it through the Eastern Conference and get to the NBA Finals, do they become the favorite?
I mean, if they get past Boston, I feel like they have to become the favorite.
That's sort of our take on it. That's our thought. I just didn't know if there's anybody in the West that, whether it be OKC, Denver, that stands out as a big time threat to the Cavaliers.
Yeah, I mean Denver because they've been there, right? We have yet to see OKC actually get over the hump and get to the finals. Boston every year is either at the finals or right there. So if you can dethrone Boston, I think that's the biggest challenge, me personally, just because how many years in a row they've been there and, the team they've built, the experience that they have over there now. If the Cavs can get past that, I think we got a real shot to winning the championship. I think the Cavs has a real shot of winning the championship.
You can keep saying we, man.
Like
we did it. We did it.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie. I wish it was a we, man. I enjoyed my time there. I really believe that either playing or sitting, I can help the Cavs just, from being there, having the experience, knowing the guys, knowing how guys react to certain things. It was a special time of me coming there, and I was very blessed to have the guys reach out to me and Kobe reach out to me and ask me did I want to come there, and it was a good experience for me.
Marcus, I want to ask a question about your time here in Cleveland. In Game 5 against the Celtics, 25 points,
went crazy,
10 of 13 from the floor, 5 of 6 from 3. After that performance, I kind of thought, hey, there's a good chance Marcus is going to get a pretty decent free agency contract, showing what he could do in the playoffs against a team like Boston. Frank, are you surprised you didn't get the response from the league that you thought you may after a playoff showing like that for the Cavs?
Yeah, to be honest, I was a little surprised, but then again, I've been traded when I was helping teams and halfway the best player on the team. I've been traded at all different times in my career, so I'm not fully surprised. I did have other opportunities that presented itself, and I kind of was holding out for spots like Cleveland, right? I wanted to come back there. I wanted to go to Philadelphia. The thing that happened with me earlier in the season with the Knicks, where they were dishonest about the behind the scenes stuff, that kind of put me in a position where I was left out due to the new CBA and teams not wanting to have 15 roster spots filled. So a lot of things happened through the mix where I could have been on the roster, could have been in the league, but a couple things happened that didn't go in my favor. And again, the Knicks was very dishonest about some things that happened, and it kind of turned the tide for me a little bit there.
It's always that front office.
Knicks have always
that
for as long as ever, they're always a shady run organization. I don't like the way they do
Man,
this.
You know what? Honestly, me playing there, I liked being with the Knicks. The Knicks was one of my favorites, so I can't say that it's different. It's different people in the front office right now, but it was just a lot of dishonest things that happened to me towards where training camp was starting. So it was harder to contact or even to pivot to go another direction. And then as the season started happening, the CBA, the new bullshit CBA we have, that guys don't want to have the whole roster filled because you go over the threshold. I'm a veteran, I get paid a certain amount. So a lot of that kind of hurt me trying to get back into the year. But watching the game and me playing, I'm better than half the dudes in the league.
There you go. No doubt. Hey, Mark, I'm curious, when you saw the news of the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade, what was your reaction?
To be honest, I was talking to my brother on the phone because he found out he was traded first. So I was like, damn, man, how did you, where the fuck could you be going? It doesn't even make sense. I know the team he hasn't played in 3 years. That don't mean he couldn't play. He just hasn't played. So I'm like, him being traded didn't make sense. Yeah. And then when the Luka stuff came, I was like, oh, shit. Now it makes sense. You know what I mean? Honestly, I would never trade a guy like Luka Doncic. He's young, he's going to grow. We all have growing pains as young players. The stuff that he's done with you saying he's out of shape or he's not in shape or whatever it may be, his accolades doesn't speak in that, in that tone. So I don't agree with that. You guys were just in the finals, so regardless of whatever you might be thinking or you might see, that's not the case. So to me, I don't agree with it. I think that it will go down as, one of the worst trades ever. But good for the Lakers.
Yeah. Speaking of which, obviously
the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers are making a run. We've talked about, wouldn't it be crazy if the Cavs played the Lakers in the finals? LeBron against the Cavs would just be nuts. How insane is it? Like, we could talk about it all the time, the numbers LeBron's putting up at 40 years old. But we didn't, these guys, as they said, played in the NFL. But I didn't play anything. You played in the NBA for a long time. You're a veteran. To see this guy at 40 years old still put up all-star caliber numbers, how crazy is that?
Man, it was crazy because me and my best friend was just having a conversation about this. And I was saying, bro, I don't care what anybody says. Do you know how hard it is to dominate the game for 20 years straight? You at 40 years old, he's still dominating. He's not just fitting in. He's not just playing. He's dominating. He looks like he's younger than some of the younger cats that's supposed to be doing what they doing. His longevity, the way he playing the game, how he's extended the game, how obviously it's better to watch. He's pulling up from half court. He's playing the game at a pace. Then you add Luka Doncic, and he's going to make Luka better at 40 years old. So to me, it's unmatched. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think any of the records that he put up will ever be broken. I don't think that no one will have this longevity at that high level and still be able to play as many years and dominate the game how he's still dominating.
Marcus, I know that we talked a lot about the NBA, but, you're a hooper, so you keep your eyes on everything. In the college world, this Cooper Flag, is he really that deal like the world portrays him to be? Some people say he's like the best freshman Duke player ever. Do you agree with that when you watch him play?
I mean, ever is a stretch,
Man,
but
tell me about
I think he's going to be a really good NBA player. I like his intangibles. I like his pace. I like his size. I like how he gets his spots and extend his dribble. He hasn't really tapped into the player he could be. When you start getting NBA bodies and NBA workouts, it changes. You're only seeing him against college guys, and he's not getting NBA bodies put on him. I believe he will have early growing pains in the league, but the way I see his game and the way I see him fitting his size and his versatility and the way he shoots the ball, I think he's going to be a really good NBA player. I think his upside is really good. I do.
Marcus, I'm curious because this is a selfish question for me because nobody in Cleveland cares. But I grew up in New York. When I was a kid, Chris Mullin and Mark Jackson and Walter Berry and Shelton Jones, eventually Malik Sealy, those guys all played, for St. John's. It was great times. And this is with Bitonio now. St. John's is the best they've been in 40 years. I love watching this team. I don't know if they have any NBA players, but they have dogs on that team, and they all play good defense. I love watching them play. I don't know how much you've watched St. John's, but what do you think of them? They have a chance to make a run of the tourney?
Love St. John's. Love what Rick has done in the NIL. Rick is one of my favorite coaches. I've always liked his style. Obviously, he brings a lot of tenacity to the game, but what he's done at St. John's has been a complete turnaround.
Yep.
He has his guys playing, and we talk about this NIL. He's paid quite a few guys that come over there.
Yep.
But them guys are playing like it doesn't matter how much they're getting paid. I think that's what we're forgetting in this game is that you still have to go out there and compete and be a dog. And he has some guys playing every night. If you watch St. John's, they get down. Like as soon as the ball come out the net, they picking up full court. They dogs. All of them are dogs. They do have a pro over there. I can't think of his name right now. I wish I'd have thought about St. John's before.
Is it Kadari Richmond?
He's a good player. It's another guy.
R.J. Lewis.
R.J. Lewis.
Yeah.
He's a pro.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
R.J. game.
Yeah.
Tenacity, man. He plays both sides of the floor. He can score the ball. He can hit the mid range, and he doesn't back down. And that's one thing about Rick Pitino. When he get guys that's bought into the system, they flourish. And this is what St. John's is doing. And Rick really understands the NIL and guys that he know that he can coach, and I think it's going to benefit in his favor.
Nice.
Marcus, a lot of people nationally have been killing the NBA since the All-Star game, and maybe even before that for some of the things that Adam Silver has done with changes to the game. The numbers, ratings-wise, have been down. You're a player, former player, current player, whatever. You're in the mix. Is the NBA, do they have a problem?
I don't think it's a problem because our superstars are still going to continue to get better, and still when you have guys like LeBron James that's, carrying the league for as long as he has, and obviously the Luka going to LA, that's going to always drive numbers up. I do think the younger guys in the league outside of, the superstars need to be better. It's a lot of the two-way stuff going on. There's a lot of the jumping from team to team. You can't build a team. I don't agree with guys trying to, in the offseason, rebuild an entire team, and then you get in the regular season and it's shit basketball that's being played. It's not, outside the Boston Celtics and other guys. It's just so much bouncing. Like the Sixers, for instance. I'm a Philadelphia guy. Like, why aren't the Sixers good? Like, why did they have this big ass turnaround, and we talking about a team that possibly won't make the playoffs, right? Like, it's too much of that in the league. We have to come back and put our veterans back in the league to teach these young guys how to play the game. So when you are out there with the LeBron Jameses and the Jason Tatum, that you know what the fuck going on, right? Is the disconnect is the superstars are way better than the mid-tier guys. We don't have enough others right now to make the games equal, right? It's just too big of a jump, and the CBA doesn't really help.
Marcus, this is my last question for you. I want to talk one more time about the Cavs. The Cavs beats the Celtics in the playoffs if they do what?
The Cavs beat the Celtics in the playoffs if the bench does what it's supposed to do. If we can get great play out the bench, I'll just keep saying if we get great play out the bench and the bench show up, Ty Jerome, Wade, those guys, D. Hunter with the addition of him, if the bench show up, I think they have a real chance. I think that's where the game will be called because, all the starters, for the most part, is going to show up. The Mitchells and the Jason Tatums and the Jaylen Browns. They're going to show up, right? It's the bench. I think it comes down to having the depth and who bench come in and control the series.
Marcus, we appreciate you coming on. We're going to end with some rapid fire here. You can answer one word if you want. You can go as long as you want, but we got a couple rapid fire ones. Who was the guy you played against who talked the most crap on the court?
Patrick Beverly.
Oh. Do you have a particular Bev story you can share with us?
Oh, man, you know what? Pat, I've been on 3 teams with Pat, and I always tell this story about Jeremy Lin and Pat Bev. Pat Bev is coming back from overseas, and Jeremy Lin is the starting point guard. I was in Houston, and I used to say to Pat, like, how you going to get on this team? And he said, watch, every single day I'm going to pick up Jeremy Lin 94 feet every single day until he quits. And that was Pat Beverly in the mix. He picked up Jeremy Lin every fucking day until he was the starting point guard of the Houston Rockets. Every day. And you just forgot about Jeremy Lin. And no one knew why Jeremy Lin was playing like he was, and everybody didn't understand it. But when we was in practice, he literally broke Jeremy Lin. He literally broke him to the point where he just was like, just, you can have it. Like, go ahead, man. Just take it.
Oh, my God.
That's incredible. All right, next one, Marcus. Who was the guy in the league that you didn't have high expectations for? You played and was like, oh, my God, this dude could hoop.
That I didn't have high expectations. I don't know. I don't really look at guys like that in the league, but I can give it to one player that I say, before all the shit that started happening lately, it was Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, every time I played against him, it was a dogfight. Like, he was one of the guys where I knew, like, when, as they say in football, like, yeah, you better have your chin strap ready. You better have that bitch strapped up. He was one of those guys. I can give him that. Ben Simmons.
What's the craziest dunk, crossover, block, craziest play you saw in person that made your jaw drop?
2 times. I'll give you 2. Gerald Green, I was a rookie in the league, and I think he was on Brooklyn, and they threw him a lob, and he windmilled the lob. Yeah. And I was on the bench, and I jumped up because I couldn't believe what I seen. I'm in the league now. I'm like, yeah, okay, dudes are really this athletic. And the second one, they have this on film as well. Jason Tatum dunked on LeBron his rookie year in the playoffs. And
I remember that.
Just so happened to be standing like directly there, and it just felt like it was me dunking on him. So like,
he stared him down too, didn't he?
Yeah, it was me too. You know, and JT, that's my guy. So, you know, that was one of the moments that like I had pictures of that I will always remember because it just felt like it was me doing it. I don't know why, but it just did. Like it was crazy.
And last one, Marcus. Is Bill Self's hair real?
Hey man, don't talk like that. Hey, that's my guy. That's my guy, and I hope he watching this. He know we used to fuck with him about it all the time. So, hey, listen, man. Whoever he going to, he got a great hairdresser. Let me just say that.
I know the Kansas women's volleyball coach. She then coached at A&M, who was really tight with Bill Self. So I got to know Bill through Bird Coon, and the Bill Self hair stories were legendary. Okay. So,
really great dude, though.
Yeah. Thanks, Marcus.
Marcus, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, man, appreciate you guys. No doubt.
That was good.
Go Eagles, man. I know y'all seen us do our thing.
Yeah, they did.
Marcus, anytime you want to come back, we'd love to have you. You see Marcus on TV.
Can I just ask? Can I just ask? I know I might be in. Can I just ask one more question to you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
If we get Myles Garrett, how would you guys feel?
What you get? It depends on what you're giving up.
I mean, we don't hate
you giving us 2 first.
I think he's just asking us if Myles would be a good fit for him. Myles is a great player.
Myles would be great for y'all.
He's great for anybody.
No, I know. I know. If we got Myles Garrett, we going back to Super Bowl. You know what? Mahomes and them was trying to get 3. We gonna get 3 if we get Myles. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Give y'all 2 first-round picks.
If y'all don't, the Commanders will. So it might be a bidding war right there.
Yeah. I'm already knowing, but for some reason, everybody want to come to the Eagles. I don't know why, but for some reason, everybody want to come to the Eagles, man.
They got good culture. That culture.
They are the best-run organization in the NFL, I think.
Yeah, they got that great culture.
Good, but they're so smart.
We're trying to get the Sixers on that same path,
That's
man.
right. And the Phillies are good too. I mean, I don't know if you're a big baseball
Sixers,
fan.
Y'all might have to start over. Y'all got to blow the Sixers up and just trust the process might have come to an end, man. It might be Maxey is the future. The dude McCain, what's his name? That's his name.
Jared McCain.
Them two, you got to build around them two because that's the future.
Yeah. Thanks, Marcus.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
That's Marcus Morris.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate him chiming in with us. And you will see Marcus on a TV near you soon.
Yeah,
some big things coming from Marcus.
Good chat with him.
Appreciate you, Marcus.
All right, we got Super Chats, Mike?
We do got Super Chats to wrap up today's show. First one comes from Salvatore the 216, who says, I wear a Browns hard hat with number 24 on it at work. Tyvis, love you, bro, but your Chubb takes yesterday made me hate you for 24 hours. LOL, why would you want to die on that hill?
You know what's crazy is I'm like, when it comes to like the business side, like I'm like Jason, I'm dead inside. You can't y'all emotions is too attached to it. Business. All I said was I understand the business side. Everybody attacking me like I said I was on board with. I literally said I would bring Nick Chubb back, but I understand the business side.
I understood what you're saying. But
yeah, like y'all people,
not everything should be business. Not everything.
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to business, and I understand the business.
All right, next one comes from Celise Shastri, who says, Cleveland Rocks, question for Mike, wondering if team formation / personnel plays a huge part in playing zone or defending zone, or is it more on coaching and strategy? All the above. Certain coaches feel more comfortable teaching zone, playing zone. Certain teams are better equipped to attack zone. So it does all the above play into the equation. Salvatore also says, Jarrett Allen needs a sky hook. With his touch, he could dominate with that shot. Vernell Jackson says, why do you guys want to erase the LeBron era? You're insane.
Who said that? Ain't nobody said that. I said that it would, if we beat LeBron in the thing, it'd be great to transition. Like the LeBron era is officially done. Like that's not what people gonna think about.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Yeah.
Nobody said nobody racing it.
That's not fair. Go ahead.
Two more. DB Dog 21 says, is it me or more and more NFL players starting to act like NBA guys with wanting to go to a contender? How about stay where you're at, work hard to make your own team a contender?
You said NFL guys are doing that? It's much.
Yeah, I think with the recent DK Metcalf.
Oh well, I mean, but once you get older, you want a ring. Like
that's not new.
I might say that's been a thing. Yeah.
I mean, guys are not. It's not like the NBA. Guys can't force their way out the same way, with rare exceptions. Even Myles Garrett.
Myles can't even force his way out.
Yeah, I mean,
at the end of the day, they could be like, "You under contract? You go out there." Trey Hendrickson tried it last year. Go out there.
When it's all said and done, do we really think Myles Garrett's going to sit out? I doubt it. Yeah, so
that's some money. Nobody want to bleed that money on that table, man.
Last one here. Charles T says, "Did everyone forget that 1 season ago this team won 11 games without Chubb, 5 quarterbacks, and no receivers? Come on, guys, stop acting like this team is worse than it is."
It is.
It's bad, but they got to. They would have that defense. Would have to.
Fluke. That was a fluke season. I'm sorry to tell you, any reasonable person knows that, Charles T. I don't tell you.
And the second best defensive player might not take a snap for the Browns. The top 2 defensive players, JOK and Myles Garrett, might not be out there. It's a lot.
I mean, that's just crazy talk. Nobody wins consistently that way. They're not winning. Not in this AFC are they winning double-digit games again with bad quarterback play. Not going to happen. No.
We had audio issues in overtime the last 2 days.
Boy.
We had IT take a look at it. Fingers crossed it works, but we will see you guys in overtime with an attempt to deliver you guys some extra Coaches Tier members content only in about 3 minutes. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
Cleveland Sports Show. Peace.